Hello and welcome to day 5 of the GodisaGeek Game of the Year 2023 deliberations. It has all come down to this. That's my catchphrase every year, probably. Today we're going to be talking about most anticipated of 2024, and then we're going to rank the top 10 best games of 2023. But like I say, before we do that, we need to introduce everybody. I'm Adam Cook. I didn't introduce everybody because I feel like, day 5 will be a weird day to start. But Chris Hyde, hello.
Hello, mate.
Lyle Carr, hello. Yes, I'm all right. Thank you. Sorry.
Hello.
A bit lower energy than Chris. Chris White, can you...
Hi, Adam.
Oh, well, very high energy. Mick Fraser.
Hello.
Those are the cast, the motley crew, if you will, of people who've been here all week. So we recommend you go and listen to the previous 4 days so you know what we're talking about. But I don't know if there'll be spoilers today. Don't really know. There probably will be at some point because we've got to whittle down a massive couple of lists. But before we do that, we want to look forward before we look backwards. And most anticipated of 2024. Now, one reason we do this, and one reason I really like doing this, is because you get to see if you were right this time next year. Okay? So last year's most anticipated of 2023 was The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. And Resident Evil 4 Remake, with Diablo 4, Marvel Spider-Man 2, and Final Fantasy 16 making out the top 5. Now, I think that's actually...
That's a solid 5.
Good.
You know, regardless
Pretty damn good,
of how we end up with the top 10, we've talked at length about most of those games somehow. They've been big things. So that's cool. So, without further ado, the list is this year Metroid Prime 4, Hades 2, Phantom Blade 0, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, The Wolf Among Us 2, Rise of the Ronin, Persona 3 Reload, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, Avowed, Banishers Ghost of New Eden, Lightyear Frontier, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, The First Descendant, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, Nightingale, Black Myth Wukong, Frostpunk 2, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Mugenics, Princess Peach Showtime, Zenless Zone 0, wow, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, The Plucky Squire, Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, Alone in the Dark, Tekken 8, Helldivers 2, Little Nightmares 3, Stalker 2, Paper Mario The 1,000 Year Door, that's a remake, South Park Snow Day, nearly there by the way, Mina the Hollower, Techno Banter, Visions of Mana, Tales of Kenzira Zhao, World of Goo 2, Freezer Pops 2, Pony Island 2, Metaphor, Refantasio, No Rest for the Wicked, and Jurassic Park Survival. Now, you all need to talk because I need to drink a beer.
I just want to say, after you announced the second game on that list, I saw Chris Hyde take a sip from something that wasn't his sippy cup, and it blew my mind. And I wanted to kind of go, oh my God, but I didn't want to interrupt. So what are you drinking?
I didn't even see it, so I missed that entirely.
Mate, for the last day, I have a mojito.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
Christmas.
Homemade.
Oh my God, Chris White's got
mate.
a mojito.
I've got a
Get in.
mojito, I've got Cuban rum and Coke,
Christ.
Chris came prepared.
Black Forest gin and tonic,
Bloody hell, any more?
He's getting hammered.
bourbon whiskey cola.
What
So-
you can't see is if he breaks the fourth wall, there's an entire bar.
Yeah. What's that one?
Sitting
Hang
at a
on,
bar.
what's
He's
that one?
got a miniature.
What was that miniature? What was the miniature?
Kraken.
Oh, yeah, so it is, yeah.
Oh, good.
Bought it with
I do
a
have
little-
water for when it
little
gets,
glass.
times get tough.
Kraken glass.
You need to
Bloody
sober up
hell.
quick and kick
Yeah.
ass.
I feel like
So
Chris
anyway,
is just ram-raiding an
Sour
off
Patch Kids as well.
license.
Oh,
Yes,
Not
mate.
For
affiliated.
the love of God. So,
Yes,
so sponsored by alcohol and Sour Patch Kids this year, then. This
Yeah.
this
That's all
most
you need.
anticipated of 20... No, he's not
Combo.
wrong. You're not wrong. We got to make some bloody quick cuts here, otherwise this is going to be day 5 in its entirety, and I'm going to jump straight in with a really harsh, vicious cut, but one that needs to be made. Hades 2 is only confirmed for early access. It's only confirmed for early access next year, which means...
it's fair, but we're all going to play.
But, like, you say that like I'm really intrigued because have they done this before? Have they done, like, a sequel? I'm trying to think.
I don't think they have. They're all
It's
separate.
Hades, isn't it?
yeah, they
No,
are.
but
They're all unique.
But they made all these, like, they made these really unique, weird, different games every time, and now this is like a sequel. I mean, listen, that game probably made enough money and was so successful, they sort of probably thought, we better had to, hadn't we? But yeah, I mean, look, it's no slight on it, is it?
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
It'll be an next year.
It's just based on the rules, right?
I mean, they'll make fools of us. They could make fools of us by releasing it in 2024. Go on, we dare you.
Yeah, exactly.
Dare
Make
you.
us look like pricks.
Yep, that would be awful. I'm cutting it.
Is Jurassic
Easy,
Park
this.
Survival confirmed for next year?
I'm
Because
not
as
personally
can't
sure.
remember.
As much as I can't wait to play it, I don't know if it was confirmed.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was confirmed for next year. It just did look really fucking
Oh,
cool.
my
It looks
God.
like
I
we might
rolled
actually
my
finally
eyes
get,
when
like,
I
a
heard
cool
Jurassic Park, and then I
Park
watched the trailer, and I was like, "Fucking hell!"
Yeah, I know. Same.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm just looking now, and I'm on the website for it, and I do not see anywhere that
Go to
says
the
a
last
year.
2 seconds of the trailer and see if it says 2024
yeah.
or not.
I can do that. I can
But
do
like
that.
this year, Capcom did Exo Primal. We've seen the technology they've got for the Resi remakes. We're now seeing a horror game set in Jurassic Park. I wish someone would just make fucking Dino Crisis already.
It doesn't say in the trailer.
Yeah.
Then it's a cut in it.
Let me just check, because I remember seeing a press release about it, and it might say in there.
No date, no dilly dally. That's what Lyle says.
It doesn't. Well, no, he's right though.
It's true.
It just set after the events of the '93 film, a new single-player action game.
I'd like to think like most Jurassic Park games are set after the release of the 1993 film.
I didn't write the press
No,
release.
I'm just saying. Like,
Fucking hell. I cannot see. No, I cannot see anything in there that says it's out next year. And that's in the announcement press release that was just before it was announced at the Game Awards, wasn't it?
yeah, I would
Yeah.
say it's probably another technicality. But go on, release it in 2024.
Yeah, we dare you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dare you.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a technical cut.
If we're going for technical cuts as well, the first game on this list, Metroid Prime 4.
I'm afraid you're
I mean,
right.
I put it on as a joke.
No,
and
I'm afraid
somehow
you're
it didn't
right.
get deleted. That game's not even coming out 20. I don't know.
Well, there's been rumours around it recently. I don't know if any of you have seen these rumours that have been kicking about. Has anyone or am I?
No, I've normally.
Okay, so the rumours been going around on Reddit that basically the game is done, it's finished, it's ready, but the cutscenes are incredibly fucked or something. The cutscenes are a big problem, and they're having to fix them all up. It doesn't seem very plausible. That seems like a really weird thing. Like how the cutscenes are the cutscenes. Like that doesn't seem.
Yeah,
like it would be an issue. So I don't think I personally believe it, but I will say, I mean, it wins the list for me if Nintendo released
God, if it had got an announcement. Yeah, but it's...
Maybe next year's, boys.
Well, Nintendo like to have one that's nebulous for next year, every year. Like Tears of the Kingdom was that for about 3 years on our list, I think. But
a long time, yeah.
I think it has to be cut, so I've deleted it.
Oh, I mean, I'm surprised it made it to the final announcement of this, but yeah.
Well, I think
10 minutes of chat and just cut the bottom 5.
What, of Lyle games?
Whoa, hey. Oh. I mean, I do think a lot of them are cut. Do you want me to just rattle through some? I can rattle through some.
No, if you think they're going to be like, I don't know what they are,
I put No Rest for the Wicked on.
Oh, hang on, I know what that is.
I
Just
don't.
that's the.
Hang on,
That's
Chris.
the-
I'd rather keep that in because it's not
Cut the
live.
penultimate 5.
No, I know what it is.
That's
the
the
Game Awards.
RPG from the Ori people, which
Oh,
doesn't win the year, obviously.
So I've got
it's the
issues
Ori
with that, and we discussed this a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I think you're one side of the fence. I'm a little concerned because I don't think there's enough top tier developers saying I'm making a Metroidvania, and it's sort of a little bit sad to me that they
dilutes the pool a bit.
Yeah, well, it's just a bit sad that they're not making. And Mick quite rightly said they might still make Ori 3, and probably will, but like they are not a big studio. I can't think that they are. It was a little bit like that's a shame because I don't know. I know Chris likes them. I'm pretty sure Mick loves them. Like the Ori and the Blind Forest games are absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone dislikes them. They're Metroidvanias that look out of this world. So it's like it's great. I will always play what this developer has to play. I think
that's why I put it on the list, just because it looks really pretty, and I kind of trust them at the moment. Like
definitely. No, sorry, I'm not saying that like I think they won't be able to do it. I just felt a little tinge of sort of like
but you can cut that, and then you can carry on cutting Lyle's.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yay.
Well, I don't know that we cut Pony Island 2 this early, do we?
I've got a cut. I've got a cut.
Okay.
Because, and I'll tell you why, because that's the whole point of the podcast.
Cheers,
I mean,
Chris.
if you feel up to it.
Yeah. So, because it's been in the works for years, I've just lost interest, and I could not care less anymore. And that's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
I am stunned you've said that, Christopher.
I think
I'm
it's,
not
I'm
too
just
hyped
upset.
for that anyway.
I'm
to be
hurt,
honest.
if I'm being honest. When it first announced, oh my God, looked amazing. And I thought, yeah, great. And then next year rolls around, nothing apart from another fucking trailer that just shows it off, doesn't tell you anything about it.
I can't believe they keep putting trailers out for that game.
And I don't even know if it will come out next year.
No, they've said. Well, what I would say, I'm pretty sure they have said that in the latest trailer, but also I don't know. I mean, I watch a lot of football, and you get a lot of adverts between football, and Microsoft's Christmas sort of come by our Power Your Dreams Xbox advert shows 3 games. It shows Forza Motorsport, the current one. It shows Starfield, and it shows Hellblade 2. So I think that would be a really odd thing to do if that game was not out. I'm not saying it's not possible. Are you sure you want
Also,
to?
they probably just wanted to put a
top 5 though, isn't
fantasy
it?
picture
Yeah,
on.
no,
They haven't got
listen.
anything else.
I remember you loving the
I
first
do,
one.
mate. I do. But
I'm really
there's at
looking
least 10
forward to
others
it.
that I'm more excited about.
I love the first one.
I don't know if it is. This is a top 5 list, right?
You're probably
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm just looking down the list, going,
You're
does it?
probably right.
I didn't really click with the first, so I wouldn't be fighting.
It's probably not a
didn't
team
click
one
with the
then, in which
first either,
case
Let's try it.
it's probably definitely not a team top 5 if you guys
Think you
want
should cut it,
miserable.
Adam. Please cut it, Adam.
It's
Cut
gone.
it, Adam.
It's gone. It's gone.
Cut it, Adam. Please
What's
cut it, Adam.
Pony Island 2 then? Because you said not to cut that straight away. Were you being
Pony
serious? I
Island
don't know what
1
that is.
was like an absolutely. I don't think I put this on the list. I think one of you guys did. Lyle, I'm guessing.
It was me.
Like, Pony Island is batshit. I don't really know that I have the time or brain power to describe that game right here.
Yeah, they also made Inscription
Yes.
in between Pony Island 1 and 2. So if anyone's played Inscription, then that's also an option. But they make games that are more than what they seem. And I think Pony Island 2, based on the trailer, seems kind of even more wild than the first one. And I'm really excited. It's in my personal top 5.
I'm surprised it
I mean,
exists, actually.
Oh, seriously, yeah.
So-
I mean, I didn't think they'd go back to Pony Island. I kind of thought they'd carry on with something new if they did Inscription and then.
Well,
you
I
know,
imagine
but,
Inscription was
I mean,
quite a
I'm happy
success,
there.
right? I mean, it seemed.
I think so,
It,
yeah.
it
So,
came
yeah.
out.
I've
on multiple
Never heard
consoles.
of Pony Island.
Pony Island
Island
sounds
is-
very much like a 8-year-old girl's game. Like,
That's
do you know-
why I.
Yeah, but that's
I
right.
remember,
That's
remember
correct.
Colin reviewed it.
That's
or
right.
Played
Yep,
it.
that's
I remember
right.
talking
Is
about
that
it on
is it
one of my
like a
first pods.
pretense? Is that what
Yeah,
it
it's
is?
kind of like how Doki Doki Literature Club is like more than it seems. It's one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
those.
Right.
Suddenly
The
goes
package
really
ends up
completely
being
dark,
different
yeah.
than, how it seems. Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
I
it's in Lyle's top 5, so if you want to leave it for now,
You can leave it for now. It wouldn't be. There's too much on here. There's some almost cast iron guaranteed gold here on this list for me.
You can cut one of mine, another one,
Go on,
tonight,
what's
straight away, which is Nightingale, because I don't think you guys will even play it when it comes.
I'm struggling to find it on this. There it is.
I
Okay,
think
so
I've seen. I think it.
Which one's this? Remind me.
isn't that a boss
It's-
from Alan Wake 2?
It is,
Yes,
yeah.
it is,
He's
yeah.
got his
It
own
is,
spin-off already.
No, no, it's a steampunk survival game where you've got steampunk
Wow.
adventurers and they get transported to a parallel world where there's all these weird monsters to hunt, and it's hard to describe and do it justice, but I've been watching it for quite a while. I actually think it's another one that's only early access in January.
Well, that makes it a little bit easier.
Which I wasn't sure when I put it on the list, but I did see a new trailer for it recently.
It
So
does
it
look
does
awesome.
look,
It does.
yeah, it does look really, really cool.
Is the
but
first
yeah.
Descendant early access?
I don't know because it's console as well as, so I'm not sure with that because I know it's.
I lost track a bit of the games no, it says release date 2024 on Steam.
Yeah.
So
Does,
I
yeah.
do. I mean, it does
I
look
mean, you
cool.
can cut it. I
Yeah,
put it on
yeah.
there because I played the beta and I really liked it. But
It
no,
does look cool.
again, it's a Destiny type.
Yeah, that's what I was getting from it. What's the other one? The one that
Game,
came
yeah.
out this year. There was. Oh no, what was it that I'm thinking of? We previewed one of them.
I previewed that. I previewed first Descendant.
What's the one that Sean previewed and he went somewhere and like they got exosuits and shit and
That was Exo. I was going to say Exo Prime.
there's been a few service games like that this year, but
But
I
yeah,
don't know
that's
if it was that.
cut.
I got another cut.
Hmm?
Wolf Among Us 2.
Oh, Chris. No,
Yeah, I'd
Christopher,
say
I'm
that
going
as
to say.
Don't you'll get burned. I'm telling you,
You're right, but
you'll get burned because The Walking Dead season 1 and 2 were amazing. Then they made another. And
it's just been doing that ever since.
And then they did the Michonne stuff, and it just wasn't there, and it won't be as good as we want it to be.
But can we at least agree The Wolf Among Us was probably the best?
Was the best
or Borderlands. Tales from the Borderlands 1 was amazing.
Wolf Among Us is pretty good, but I don't think Telltale have got it anymore.
Well, it's not Telltale that made the original. It's a different Telltale now, isn't it? It's like what they did with THQ Nordic, because Telltale was shuttered, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll cut it. Yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm not being precious about these because there's just so many of them.
Is there a world
I don't
where
know.
in the top 5, Princess Peach Showtime makes the grade?
Yeah, I don't think we know enough about that game.
No, it looks...
It's been a long time coming. That's all I'll say.
And I am intrigued about a Princess Peach game, but
for sure,
it's not above 5 others on this list.
But what I would, this era Nintendo, it's like I think that's being.
Oh no, I agree with you.
Swiftly, they made some good Kirby games this generation. Remember, I mean,
yeah, but I guess even knowing that, and there was a new Kirby or a new Yoshi, would you say that's top 5 because it's Nintendo on a roll, and this is even more unknown quantity?
But that's kind of exciting. But I get it. No, I get it. In the same,
I hope it's great.
I would be surprised if it wasn't. I mean, while we're on the subject, then Paper Mario.
I mean, it's kind of like they assume it's going to be like the original,
which was amazing.
And it'll be amazing. But like, I've played
it. It's difficult to see what they will do. Like, thing is, with the Resident Evil 4 remake, we knew that was going to feel different. I don't know, but my gut tells me this is going to feel like a remaster rather than a remake.
I don't think they will add much at all. I don't think they need to, man. That game was a 10 out of 10.
Agree.
In which case, I don't think it's...
Let's be honest. We all know this game's going to be incredible. But we probably would 100%. All rather celebrate a new title.
Yes.
And talk about this next year in the re-release.
Because last year we had Resi 4 on the list. But I think
that was a full remake.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We're saying the same thing. Yeah.
But man, that the more people who get to play that game, the better. Like, it's amazing. Like one of my top 5 RPGs ever, and I'm like the RPG guy, you know. That
game's timeless. I played it this year on N64 on GameCube, like I did Metroid. Was that last year? I can't remember. Whenever it was, I played it, and it does not feel dated in any way. I remember speaking to Sean, who we all know, and saying to him that basically, why haven't they put this out? They don't need to do anything. They just need to make it widescreen and re-release it. If I gave it to someone nowadays who never played it before, they would just assume it was a new game. But while we're there, and it's right next to it on the list, South Park Snow Day.
I'm going to suggest that. I don't know how much faith I've got in that to produce a banger.
I think it's going to be poor, but
yeah, I did quite like the two. So I didn't.
But it's not that kind of game, though. It's like
is it not?
No, it's not an RPG. If it were an RPG and we were getting a third one of them, I think I'd be making a very different argument. Now, this is the weird thing about this, right? Is that they recently released a new trailer for it, and they called it a gameplay trailer. Now, I've written about games and covered games for over a decade. I've played games for nearly 40 years. And I watched this video and I was unable to be 100% sure what kind of game it was, apart from third person or 3D, which is a mistake for South Park. It is a mistake.
You can't animate South Park.
It doesn't work. It never has worked. Like the reason, part of the reason I think the 2D RPGs were so good is obviously the actual mechanics were amazing and they were really good video games. But it felt like you were playing the show. Like it really felt like you were playing the show.
That's what I thought this was because I haven't seen anything on Snow.
No, it's 3D and it's. I think it might be a
trying
tower
to do
defense
that, but
game.
it's 3D, and I don't think it's going to land.
But that's the other thing they're trying to sort of hook into because they're like in the trailer. Because I don't know if you did everyone play the RPG ones?
I played the second one.
So you know that they refer to you as new guy. That's what they do. You're hey new guy in the trailer for the new one. They're like hey new guy. So they're trying to, I think, connect it, but it doesn't look right because it's 3D, and like I say, I'm not sure, and I apologise in advance if I'm wrong. It looks like a tower defense game ish.
And
but I'm not
I
sure.
don't know these days how excited I am about more South Park. Like I love South Park. I have done for decades.
Yeah,
but it's been decades.
Yeah, South Park wouldn't be the first draw for me. Like I played Stick of Truth. Like I used to like South Park, but I played Stick of Truth on the recommendation of it being a good game to play as well. Not because
exactly.
Not because it's South Park. Like back in the day, I was playing like Chef's Love Shack and the other because it was of that moment, right? And I'd play any.
There were some bad South Park games back
then.
Oh,
I'm well aware.
It's funny, really, because
Rally and stuff like that.
That's the funny thing about it, because they cashed in on it when it was super popular, but then they made the really good ones. I mean, it's still pretty popular, I presume, but like, weird. But like 3D, innit?
I don't think it makes the top 5.
No.
I think it's a budget release, by the way. I'm pretty sure. I remember, again, apologies if I'm wrong. I remember seeing in a press release like it's 39 quid or something instead of the. So I think it's even. I don't know. I'll play it because I do still find South Park funny, and like I've met fond memories of that show.
Little Nightmares 3. As much as I love the Little Nightmares games, and I love the lore
Little Nightmares 2 was
universe.
Good.
This has got co-op, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I just think like Little Nightmares 2. I was like, it's good, and that ended like I was not blown away by Little Nightmares 2. Like I just thought it's enjoyable, and then I move on. I'm never going to go back.
For me, the first game, it was the atmosphere and visuals that blew me away. The gameplay itself, I just sort of played.
If I'm honest, I'm a little tired of these games, and that sounds bloody hell, I wish I hadn't said it now. But what was Chris White? You reviewed a game this year that's kind of the opposite of Little Nightmares, but it's the same style of game. It was
Massive Dreams.
Cocoon.
No, it was a Game Pass game. It was very blue. I want to say Island of something, and you've got like a little blobby friend that you meet. Your village gets burnt down at the beginning, and then you meet. You know the game I mean, though, right?
Yes.
I can't think for the life of me what it's called. It was in Xbox Game Pass.
Planet of Lana.
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I did start playing it, and like, this looks really pretty, but I was like,
I love that game.
No, I know.
That was really cool. That did different things with the mechanics.
Okay, so I wish I'd played more of it then, because I was just a bit put off by like, okay, this is another Limbo Inside Nightmares.
It was.
Yeah, but if you're saying it does something a bit more interesting.
It was decent. And like Little Nightmares 2, like Mick said, it was the atmosphere with and what they did with the environment like that is that level where you go into like abandoned like factory. There's all the mannequins.
The mannequin bit was good.
Genuinely creepy games.
Two or one?
Very creepy.
Two.
That's two. The mannequin.
Yeah, but co-op should have been a given for the second, really. But it's not enough to make me go, I want to play through this with someone.
I wonder if it's a game that the idea of co-op is better than what it would feel like. I wonder if the atmosphere would be lessened by playing with your mate online. And
maybe.
I think it would be. I think
it's not. It Takes Two, is it? Is what I'm getting at. Like that works co-op for a specific reason.
It's one of those series as well where if Little Nightmares 3 doesn't start answering some questions, I'm going to lose all interest because it's just like, and I know you don't have to explain everything, but they're very, very vague on what the hell is going on.
Yeah, at least with like Inside and Limbo and all that, they were just different games.
Yeah.
This is a sequel you would expect. But it's a cut, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what a lot of these are, I'll be honest. I don't know what.
I think it's time we do what we did yesterday. We let Chris hide, who's not cut anything yet. I think it's time for Chris.
I mean, I cut Peach, but yeah, all right.
So I suppose we did. Yeah.
Well, there's ones I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what Path of the Teal Lotus is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I presume that's an animal.
It's irritating me that it's not got capital letters.
Now, if you're telling me it's some sort of weird game based on Bo Selector, I think I'm going to be a little more interested in hearing.
Or Ali G.
I think it's a kung fu animal game.
It could well be.
I put this on, oddly enough, because no one else knows what it is. It is, I believe it's Humble Games published, and it's like it's a ridiculously gorgeous looking Metroidvania, I believe, that I saw in a preview recently.
Oh my word!
And I think
honestly, just watch a trailer before.
I'm also doing that.
I do think it looks amazing. It's very high on my own personal list when they first showed it.
Like a colourful Hollow Knight.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, this does look pretty good, man. This looks pretty good. I think we should see where the room lies because this looks pretty good.
Nice. Hang on, let me just pause.
Yeah, I mean, this was one where I thought if I'm going to mention it's a Metroidvania and can swing people around, there's a decent chance.
And Humble Games has a pretty good track record when it comes to publishing.
Yeah,
and it's Japanese folklore. I'm not.
I like the look of this.
Yeah, that needs to stay for now.
Ooh. Oh, for fuck's sake! Well, that's failed my. I have one job.
All right, right. That didn't go as expected.
What's Black Myth Wukong?
That is, I put that on.
Okay, sorry.
So a little while ago, I think it was announced about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was one of those games where it showed it's a Souls-like. Well, it's a Wo Long-like, I guess. And it was one of those where they showed it, and everyone went, "That's not going to be as good as that."
Oh, I remember that.
And now the actual gameplay trailers, and it's got a release date now of August.
August, yeah.
Fucking superb.
Yeah, I do not want to try and get my PC running this. Is it coming to console?
And I know, I accept that it's not going to be on everyone's list, so it's a cut, but I put it on there because I'm really, really excited.
That must be one of the latest release dates we've got. August 20th is very late.
I think which we'll come to, Space Marine 2 has a September 29th.
Oh, it does, yeah.
As well. But yeah,
so
Black Myth Wukong looks... It
does say it's coming to PS5 and Xbox as well, but...
Because you play as Wukong, so it's kind of a play on that myth, which is why it's the dark version, Black Myth. You play as Wukong. But it looks really good. Like, the combat looks fantastic. It looks really fast, and it looks really good looking. And I don't know... because I can't remember who the developer is, but I don't think
it's not someone I've heard of. I don't think
so. It's one of those that could maybe there's some bull shots in there somewhere. We don't know yet because I don't think anyone's played it yet. But
is every game inspired by Journey to the West these days?
I know.
It's just like fucking hell.
The developer's last game was from 2016, according to Steam, and it was a strategy multiplayer RTS. So that's
it's very strange. Jump, but you can cut it, but that's why it's on there.
Do we need to talk about a game that's not on the list?
What?
Maybe
Dragon's Dogma 2.
Fuck's sake!
How is that not on the
list? We don't need to talk about it. We do need to have it on the list. That would have been a real big mistake. That would have.
Yeah.
You're welcome, man. Save this from humiliation.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think it's a cut yet.
No,
I don't think it's a cut yet.
Avowed though. Talk to me about Avowed.
Is it coming? Does it even look that good? I don't even know anymore. Because it's a first-person Magic game, isn't it? And it looks like a game that they would have developed for the Kinect once.
Wow,
that's the harshest thing you could ever say.
I know, but that's the feeling I got from it. As gorgeous as it looks like a game that's gonna, because it's first-person. It looks, and we had Immortals of Avium this year, which was a fairly decent.
Oh, you think it's more like that? See, I think it's more like Skyrim.
Yeah,
it's Obsidian, isn't it? It's Obsidian. So I think it's more
trust Obsidian to an extent, although they're better with other people's IPs usually.
It is. So it's apparently from the Pillars of Eternity series.
Oh,
don't say that.
And it's set in because it says it's Avowed will take place in the same universe as Pillars of Eternity in the world of Eora. Is that right? Yeah. And the game is scheduled to be released in 2024 for Windows, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. It is an action role-playing game from a first-person perspective. It's bizarre that this Wikipedia has all this information, and yet we work in games, and I don't know any of this. It's really odd. While Avowed is not a fully open-world game, it features several large open zones. A player explores the game's world and interacts with other NPCs similar to Obsidian's previous game, The Outer Worlds. God, Christ, The Outer Worlds. When's the sequel for that out?
On next year.
Oh yeah.
Don't say that.
Oh, we keep adding games.
It's a cut, isn't it? Because it ain't top 5.
No,
I don't think it is top 5.
I'm surprised to hear you guys say that though, because you all love
Skyrim. I think it was on my most anticipated last year, but I think this year's just a big hot list.
Okay, well I'll cut it if you guys want it cut. No one's saying not to.
Go for it.
I cut it. Yeah, please. Well, say please.
Please. Please,
come on.
Okay.
And what are we down to now?
A lot. Lyle, you haven't cut one in a while. What would you like to
say? Okay. I am not convinced that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League makes a top 5 on this list.
Yeah.
And
for the same reasons
it's
as
one where
last year. Yeah.
What a sad what a sad thing though. It should be.
It should be.
It should be nailed on.
Oh, 100%. But I think,
You got anything else you want to say?
Say again.
You got anything else you want to say about it?
Everything I've heard about it, I still have alarm bells ringing from last year, mate. Like they keep. I don't know. Look, for me, part of it is like if you want to make a game, make the game. Have courage in your convictions and make that game. And the fact they delayed it so massively says to me they heard feedback and were like, "Shit, we need to change a lot of that." I don't like that personally, but apart from anything else, man, I don't get it. I don't. Because it just doesn't work in my head. Like if they are making the game they want to make, how come they went from making like these amazing single player experiences to co-op things? Like
yeah.
And if that's the case, why the hell didn't they just get them to make Gotham Knights?
Yeah,
because that would have been a better game.
Deadshot game. Just give us
or make a Deadshot game, or make a Sharkman game, or whatever. It's not on my list anywhere near. I'm not saying I don't have any faith in it, but I will say as a studio they're burning through it quite quickly. And
I think that's a cut.
Yep. Amazingly. We have got another remake on this list still.
Have we?
We do.
We need to talk about
Persona 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't get near my list anyway, to be fair.
For the same reasons as all the others, I can see why it would be cut. For me, Persona 3 was like the one of those modern Persona games I didn't fully complete and didn't fully play. And they seem to be doing a pretty significant remake on it, which, I'm really, really excited to play.
I'm terrified because I think this is the longest Persona. And like, imagine the technology they didn't have. Now they can make full-length cutscenes instead of just you buttoning through text. I think this will top out in
Persona 3 Reload Part 1, you mean?
No, I'm just saying I think this will be 100+ hours.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will be, honestly. Like, that would not surprise me at all. I mean, I think it will be a really good 100 hours. And yeah, very excited to play it.
I am really interested to see what they do. Do you know much about it? Like, did you play it at all?
Yeah, I've played like 20 hours or something.
Okay, that's plenty.
So, a drop in the ocean.
No, I know, but like, there's some stuff that they left in for what do they call it? Persona 3 Portable, wasn't it?
Fez. Oh yeah, there was FES.
That's right.
Then there was Portable.
There's some stuff. I wonder if they'll stick to their guns. I was going to say, but that would be the. Do you know what I mean? Because it's quite the world's changed, and like the way one of the characters acts when in combat and stuff is like quite. I don't know. I mean, maybe they will. I really don't know. I'm kind of excited to see and interested to see, but
it's also really early in the year, so I'm excited because it's like just around the corner,
Yeah, like from everything I've heard about it, I'd kind of like to be playing it before Christmas, if I'm completely honest. But like, I don't know if that'll be the case. Would be very nice if it's as long as I think it's going to be, but I don't think it makes my top 5.
I don't think it's gonna not between everyone. Like it might make my top 5, but I'm not certain.
Yeah,
to
that's
be honest.
where I'm
like,
at.
There's a lot of good shit.
Okay, it's gone. Chris White, you cut something, Chris White. Go on, Chris.
What do you want to cut?
Do it.
What do you want to cut, Chris? Pick something.
That's so creepy.
No, not really.
Jesus Christ.
Not really. Stalker 2.
I was thinking that too.
Stalker 2.
Yeah.
Because I really, really want it to be good. But
Yeah.
I think now this is a game that I can't imagine it not being a couple of years behind everybody else by now. Like because it's gone on quite some time since this was probably finished, because it's been delayed for multiple reasons, multiple times.
I mean, for very good reasons.
Of course, yeah. I'm not
just not that you're saying anything other.
Yeah,
than,
yeah.
It's not a game I can go. Why do they keep delaying it? I think it's fair.
Yeah. But I do think that because I really liked Stalker, but that was how many years ago? Was
a
the
long
original
time.
Now?
Oh, fucking ages.
And as much as I remember, I was
and they were niche
really,
games then. They were weird niche. Metro-like almost, but before Metro, but
yeah,
also even weirder than Metro, if I recall.
I think
semi-survival as well.
Yeah, it's very much like that. It's very much like the game Chernobyl in a way, the one that I reviewed, I think last year. but just bigger. And I think its eventual release will be something of an event for a lot of people who've been waiting a long time for it, certainly for the developers. But I think if you told me that was coming out first week of January, I still don't think I'd be hyped.
I mean, it ain't on my top 6, and it's supposed to be a top 5. That's where I'm struggling with at the moment.
Yeah, so I think it's a cut, but for me it is anyway. If no one's got any objection.
Yeah.
No, I'm interested in it, like you say. I mean, I recently played Blood West, which was inspired by Stalker, and it kind of made me want to try that sort of series more. So I'm kind of hoping that maybe I'm now into ridiculously hardcore.
And look, I hope it's good. Like, don't get me wrong. I really, really hope.
And I hope they get all the success in the world. Quite
absolutely, yeah. But
100%, yeah.
I just don't. I get the vibe. It isn't going to be one for me personally. Yeah. It might. I think I can imagine yourself and Chris White enjoying it, but it's.
Yeah.
I'm happy to cut it.
Oh dear.
What's Nina the Hollower?
It is the.
Don't say it's another fucking Metroid.
You fucking drop a bomb now.
It's like the next big game from Yacht Club Games, so like it's the next Shovel Knight essentially.
Jesus
but
Christ.
Instead of that, it is.
It's
like a top-down. I keep an eye on shit. Sorry, everyone.
So do I. I have heard of this. I just didn't realise it was them.
So, yeah, it's so how what they're doing is like it's kind of like if Shovel Knight was like a 2D platformer from that sort of era. This is like top-down Zelda equivalent. So it kind of looks like a Game Boy, like one of the old Game Boy Zelda games, like a Link.
Oh yeah.
No, not a Link Past. The other one.
Yeah,
Link's Awakening.
I'm watching a trailer. It looks very much like Link's Awakening, like that kind of.
It does.
I mean, the art style puts me off because that's not my bag, but I can see why people will be begging for this.
Like, I've been very excited. Like, it was on a list I had because they marked it as December this year originally. So it's one that I've been excited for quite a while. I mean, I think between all of us, I'm not certain it's going to be top 5, and I'm fine if that's the case.
Wouldn't be on my list.
Really looking forward to it.
I get it.
It looks all right. It's not had the same impact on me as Bo has when I saw the trailer.
Yeah. Bo, I thought, I'll play that.
I do think it being Yacht Club means like a good chance.
Yeah, no, but like if we can't get into that, we can't be like, but it's developed, but we got to.
Yeah, totally. I get it.
We've got to cut 20 more games.
Bloody hell! Bye.
So fucking cut it. Go.
Mina.
Bye, Mina. Bye, Techno Banter. I don't even know what that is.
Bye, Techno Banter. Techno Banter.
I was going to make a joke about this. Is when Adam says social mediums on the pod. Talk to me about Techno Banter.
That's good.
It's all right.
Techno Banter. Yeah. Techno Banter is kind of like Papers, Please, but you're a doorman in a Berlin nightclub.
Oh
We've had that.
That's really specific.
Not Tonight was like that.
Not Tonight was like that, but
that
Brexit.
Was, yeah.
Yeah, but you were still a doorman, right?
Yeah, you were a doorman.
Oh, well, cut it then. We can't have another doorman game.
No, we can't. Only
not
one
in the
doorman
same decade.
But yeah, what looks
unless
cool
there's a
about
Metroidvania.
Don't tempt him.
True.
We don't know. He could say that and it might be a lie. This is Lyle.
No, I've watched the trailer for this.
Okay.
I can concur.
Is it on your list as well, Chris?
Absolutely not.
No, it's not gonna be. But like, I've got to play a build of this, and it's really good. Like,
there's a gorilla in a jumper talking to me. Hang on.
Yeah, it's got really unique art style. They kind of like. The whole point is you have to come up with the right retorts for people. There was a bit where it suddenly turned into like a bullet hell game out of nowhere. Like, I think it's going to be a really cool game, and I think I'm going to love it. But I don't think it's going to stick around. I think it's already gone. Is it already gone? It's already gone.
You were still talking. It's like fuck that.
No, but I've told you I preempt stuff knowing where it's going because I'm just that good, and I still want people to talk about them. We are sort of picking on you, Lyle, here, but Freezer Pops 2, I genuinely didn't know exists.
My fault, okay? Chris Hyde added this to the list. It's not real. He added it as a joke.
I added it last year as a joke. I added it this year as a joke.
Prick.
And look how far it made it. It's
look
not
how far it made
game.
it. And
I didn't want to mention it
because I thought and you didn't notice.
No, I didn't know it wasn't real. Why would it not be real?
Why could it not be real? I mean, Pony Island and World of Goo, it was between those. So...
I know, I put it between the twos. Yeah. I was sneaky.
Yeah, it was very clever.
I don't think it's the two.
Good job. But yeah, it's not a real game.
No, has to be cut on account of it being made up.
Yeah, and
what's,
cool.
What's Metaphor Fantasio?
Probably made up. Now I trust nothing.
This one isn't made up.
It sounds shit. What is it?
Metaphor Fantasio. Thanks, Mick. Thank you very much. Yep, great. It's all right. We've already got rid of all your Euro junk games.
No, we haven't, mate. We haven't. Trust me.
You haven't, mate. There's a few hanging on yet.
But don't worry, Lyle. It hasn't gone unnoticed.
Yeah.
Metaphor Fantasio is Atlas's next big game.
Oh, fucking hell, of course it is.
Persona 3,
Oh,
4,
of course.
and 5.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of going to be amazing, but at the same time, I'm not sure it's going to make a top 5 in this room. But I'm very excited. They just did a trailer for it at the Game Awards.
Yes.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, they did a trailer for that and for Persona 3, didn't they? I did know that. It's just such a strange video game name. I blanked on it. Yeah, but let's be real. We've got 5 games to get in from all 5 of us.
Yeah.
God, I can't.
Again, it's another one where I think it'd make a list maybe if it was just me.
Yes.
But let's not be silly.
What a pod that would be.
That'd be great.
You can take off, if you like, Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
I'm fucking
That's
right
on
with that.
Thank you.
That's on my list.
I'm quite excited for that. The first game was great.
It was. Mark Strong did the voice in the first
What kind of game is that? Because there are so many Warhammer...
Third-person shooter. It's an over
like the Horde game.
It was like Gears of War.
Okay.
Yeah, the original was like Gears.
So it has a story. It's not a Horde, just a Horde shooter like
World
War Z or something.
Mark Strong was the main character. Was the
I don't know who that is, but I assume that's a big
deal.
deal.
Sherlock Holmes. Mark Strong. He's a
sorry.
Kick-ass.
Yeah, Kingsman is Merlin in Kingsman.
Sorry, lads, but you can't have it both ways. You can't have Heidi taking the piss out of me for saying social mediums and expect me to know all these hip young actors you're talking about. It can't be both. You can't take the piss out both ends. You can't take the piss out of both ends.
We were being decent and just told you what it is, and we weren't taking the piss.
Mick was going, well, I think you were going to take the piss. You were going to take the piss.
Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because I'm not sure about that.
Really?
It's very different to what made Helldivers great, I think.
I think it's a third-person version of what made Helldivers great.
Yeah,
that looks fantastic.
Which I'm not against.
I love a co-op game like that where you got to synergize with your teammates and actually work together and not just run off charging on your own through things while the other two sneak around quietly in Rainbow Six Extraction.
Frankly, it should get.
There's no need to just dig at me all the time.
What's wrong with synergize? Hang on.
I'm like a business cunt. Carry on. I'm coming at that from a position.
This is why, Adam. This is why I can't synergize. It's not you, mate. This is why I can't do it when we.
Yeah, no, I'm starting to understand.
You're starting to understand now. It's him. I mean.
Oh, sorry. Just to be serious though, how am I, Nick? Helldivers, man. Helldivers.
I don't want to cut Helldivers 2. I was just saying, is it going to be as good as the original? Because the original was fantastic. And that's
why I'm excited for this one, because it looks like they've gone all PS5 superpower stuff and
it looks fucking.
It looks the business. It's a third-person shooter with tactical elements to it.
I
think there's easier cuts.
There's easier cuts.
We synergise then, Chris. We synergise then, Chris.
Synergy.
Haven't I?
Not for a while.
Jinx, you bastard.
Cut some it.
Tells the Kanzera Zao.
Yeah, don't. No, because Lyle's going to come in and go. This is another game by Atlas.
I mean,
I think it looks great.
I do, but it's not top 5, is it?
I do think EA Originals have got EA Origins have got a very good track record when it comes to these sorts of games.
Yeah, we can't just use that as an argument.
But EA Origins been
grumble.
I've used the Jeebus against him.
I just do want to say that it looks really cool. It looks really cool.
It does look cool. I'm just looking at this list, and there's still about 20 games on it, and I'm like,
I'm really surprised that Mick's gone for it, because it's basically it's like a Metroidvania, I think, without the Metroidvania. So it's a 2D
platformer, and
2D.
A tribute to a lost father.
Yeah, it's a 2D action game basically. You're playing Trinity Fusion at the moment, like that sort of thing, but not that sort of thing. It's not. I don't think it's roguelike. I think it's a story. So it's kind of that bridge between like an action-adventure 2D platformer and a Metroidvania. I don't know if it's got those elements, but it does, doesn't it? Right?
Tales of Kenza.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Bayek from Origins, Assassin's Creed Origins.
This looks really good.
It does, yeah. No, I really do think it looks good, but
this looks really good.
Never cut anything.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, you obviously hadn't seen it, to be fair, but this is like the one game I was like, Mick will love that. That was straight away that I was like, Mick will love that game. But I will say we've got that, we've got Bow, we've got Prince of Persia we haven't talked about yet, and they're all kind of 2D
Because this is a celebration, do we change something on the fly and do a top 10?
No, mate, I can't cope with that. I can't cope with change.
Can't break the rules.
I can't break the rules.
We already cut too many things
to
change it to top 10.
It wouldn't change things. I do think
we'd have to bring freezer.
Because we've got to be savage because nothing's happening.
Still be back in the mix.
Well,
Eugenics isn't going to make the fucking list.
I don't
Phantom
think
Blade
Eugenics
0, Frostpunk 2.
Oh gosh, we're getting rid of loads.
What are all these?
I can't keep up with this. What's going on?
No, slow down.
Frostpunk 2.
Yeah, there's only Chris Hyde's going to play that, quite frankly.
You absolute. I would say
It's true, though,
soulless
isn't it?
bastards, but it's a miserable game.
Yeah, exactly.
Really fucking depressing, but it's great.
Throw another child on the fire. It's getting cold.
Burn the children for warmth.
Burn the what? Sorry, the what?
Children.
Thank you, Mick.
The children. Or the babies. The Christmas babies.
I do worry, right, that I found myself doing that in real life. Like when someone on TV, there was something going on, and then I just like, you know how you sometimes react to something, and I just went, children, and I was like, no, you can't do it.
Don't answer the door to carolers like that, for God's sake.
Children. I heard it for the first time. Someone said children. I mean, I nearly said it back to them in that way, and I was like,
it was really nice of Father Christmas to guest like that for us, though. I will say. It was...
Oh yeah.
Frostpunk 2 a cut though, yeah.
Frostpunk 2's a cut. I think
Eugenics
a cut.
it's a theme game, so yes.
Eugenics is a cut too, right?
I mean, I'm annoyed that Frostpunk's gone before Eugenics. But
really?
yeah.
I've been waiting for this game for about 6 years.
Right, well, let's cut Final Fantasy then. How long have you been waiting for it?
I didn't know that was the current. You should not drink on podcasts.
It's getting rowdy.
I just mean, like, is it really going to be above Final Fantasy, like a Dragon, Lightyear Frontier?
I will just say, I have been waiting for Eugenics. I think it's longer than 6 years. Like, that was announced around the time after Super Meat Boy came out as the next Team Meat game, if I recall.
Beyond Good and Evil and Metroid Prime 4.
No, but this now they're actually releasing like a new sort of Steam post every fortnight, showing off like the tank they call the Chonka, which is I do like. I know I shouldn't. I know it's childish, but I like it.
No, I know.
I like that.
Oh, I laugh.
And it's got like. It's weird. It's Edmund. Oh God, I shouldn't drink on podcasts. Edmund Macmillan, and it seems like it's apparently linked into the Isaac universe as well somehow. So it's got that really weird stuff. Like they've animated cats' arseholes and stuff like that. Like it's, but it's also a. It's also looks
Sorry,
like
lock it in. Sorry, I did not realise we got animated arseholes.
It's also no, but it's got like the reason it's called Eugenics is because you breed cats. Cross genetics and stuff like that as well, and it's a tactics game, and it looks so cool. But I don't think anyone cares. But me, do they? But Lyle, surely, this must be a game you care about.
Yeah,
mate, you need to work on.
He doesn't care. He doesn't top 5 care. That's what he's trying to say.
Way possible.
No, but like seriously, and also it's got the weirdness. It's a turn-based tactics game. It's the Team Meat. Well, half of Team Meat. I would have thought this would be something you and I would be.
Yeah, to be honest, it's been coming so long that I kind of haven't really been paying as much attention to the recent stuff.
That's totally fair.
Because, I didn't really realise it was actually coming next year until.
Well, do you know what? On a technicality, I don't think it has a release date.
Oh well,
but the way they are ramping up the coverage, themselves,
not good enough.
It does say release date 2024. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully, it's.
But it's been coming a long time.
Oh, seriously.
But it's a cut. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Zelda Zone Zero.
I'm literally just looking at a trailer for that and going, oh God, this looks a little bit like Scarlet Nexus. And I was
it's like Scarlet Nexus and Neo: The World Ends With You. It's like that combined.
But
God, you know, I was like, I'm watching the trailer going, well, this will be shit. I'll just watch this. And
no,
I was like, oh my God.
But I do think it's worth mentioning that this is a MiHoYo game, so it's going to be like
it's free to play,
Genshin and what is that?
Honkai Star Rail.
Thank you. Which are all, by the way, really good games.
Yeah, Genshin is good. Yeah,
but
and I think me and Chris White in particular will like Zelda Zone Zero a lot.
Yeah,
I definitely want to try it.
Yeah,
I'm not sure it's going to make it top 5.
The only reason I haven't played Honkai is because apparently the mobile version doesn't have inverted controls. Or maybe it does now, but I remember reading that it didn't, and so it's like it's no point. But I do want to play that.
That's a no-go for me as well.
I think Zenless is gone. Yeah. Where are we dancing?
I'm going so red. I look like Mick's shirt. This is why I don't drink, lads. I'm fucking on the floor.
We only need to get rid of another, at least 10. Alone in the Dark.
No.
I'm not super excited for that.
I'm interested, but I'm not.
Didn't you play it, Adam?
No, no one's played it yet. It's always been hands off. I don't. No, that's not true. There is a prequel demo thing, a prequel slice that you can play that's non-combat.
I've just got a really awkward
everything
about it.
based on Alone in the Dark since the first Alone in the Dark has been pretty crap.
I will say I do appreciate the honesty they've had every time they delayed it, because they've delayed it again now, and they are really honest about it. They just say, look, we don't want to go up against this game.
That's fine.
But I don't know,
but
man.
Then have some confidence in what you're selling us as well.
I don't think it's even that. I don't think this will be a bad video game in any way, shape, or form. But I don't think it's going to be. I mean, I feel like the top 5 we pick are the ones that we think are probably going to be like 10s when they come out.
Contenders at the end of the year.
Yeah, kind of that. And I don't think Alone in the Dark is going to be that. Even
I'd love it to be, but I just don't.
It'd be great if it was. But...
It's definitely in my top 5, but yeah,
okay,
it won't be like
if it's in your top.
It won't be a 10.
Well, hey man, if it is, it'll be a nicer surprise as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, you can keep it for now, but we're getting to the point where we've got to cut it.
No, I'm fine to cut it.
Okay.
World of Goo 2.
Yeah, I do think that would be cool though. I'm pleased.
I'm excited for that. It's like literally the original was a WiiWare game. Like this has been longer coming than Alan Wake 2 was, which is kind of wild to think of.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited for that. It was like one of those really early indies that like were really beloved, and I thought it was a really creative game. I'm sort of intrigued to see how they managed to make a sequel creative, but I don't think it's going to make top 5, but really excited for it. It's so cool it was announced.
I always remember it coming out around the time there was another WiiWare game that was made by EA, and it was about blocks and shapes, and it was all about the geometry, and it was a really clever game. And I remember it. I just want to say they come out. I mean, the Wii had some great games, obviously, but I think this will be a cool game. Because I think when you take that long to make a game, you've got an idea for a game that you really want to make.
You hope there's an idea, and it's not just like different kind of
it's not
We're
making
going
a top 5.
Tales as well. Tales of Kenzar, because it's not going to stay, is it?
No, I don't think it is. I did think it looked good from that clip, but
I don't think that or Pony Island 2 is actually going to make a top 5.
No.
I think you're probably right on both of them, and I'm happy to cut both personally.
Okay.
Are we in?
I think Lyle was going to say one before I cut in. With
I think I can cut 2.
All right.
Should we fucking go for it?
Yeah.
I don't think I don't really like fighting games, but of the fighting games, the one I care about the least is Tekken, and I don't think it's going to make a top 5 from us. Right? Am I right on that one?
It wouldn't for me, but Adam's very, very quiet right now.
I don't have.
Because I know Adam is a fighting game.
I don't have the passion for Tekken like I do Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
No, exactly. I'm exactly the same as Haya do.
I'm
interested
because it's
the
the big one next year, but like, I'm not like salivating over it because I don't have the affinity for it. I think the last one I played was Tekken 3. Like,
Jesus.
I should tell you. Yeah, I know exactly.
Every time someone says Tekken 8, I do get a semi.
Okay, well,
is that related to the game or just like
we need to factor priapism into
maybe some hypnosis from years ago? I don't know.
Maybe.
But no, I can't wait.
Tekken 8.
I can't wait.
Tekken 8.
Wait for it.
Tekken 8 sounds like
Tekken
a word.
You're trying to get your desk to lift up.
I will say the reason I was doing this and like being quiet is because I love Chris White so much, but I can't in a top 5. I can't.
I don't see it in a top 5.
I did like Tekken 7, but Chris loved it. I really do think this is going to be an absolute banger. We are in almost a golden age of fighters right now, but when you factor in the kind of hour list, though, but when you factor in this hour list, and it's probably me.
If you're saying it's not in your top 5, Adam, it's not going to be in our top 5.
Hang on,
it makes you feel better, mate. We're going to have to cut my one soon. People are being really polite about it, but like...
I've got 3 on there that I'm being really quiet about that are going to go in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah. I could see a list with Tekken 8.
Actually, cry. So just whatever.
I could see a list with Tekken 8 at 5, but no higher. I feel like if
that's
that's what I'm saying.
Let's go. Let's talk about.
Let's keep
Phantom Blade Zero.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
100% Mick.
Have you seen the trailer for that?
No.
PS5 exclusive.
I can't though because I've been looking at the others.
Watch the combat in this game, Chris, before you decide we cut it straight away. I can't see how the combat in this game is real from what I've seen in the trailers, but apparently it is this year.
Have we definitely got a
based
date
on
for
Journey
it?
into the West?
We haven't got a date. We have got.
It kind of looks like that game you mentioned earlier, the Black Myth.
It's got a similar feel to it, but I don't
Crying
think
Lady?
it's Souls-like. The
It's
combat
not a
just
Souls-like.
looks fucking spectacular, and I can't understand how mechanically it's going to work.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Oh my god.
But I mean, that to me,
Shit!
that's on my list because
sorry.
it just looks.
That's not good for the
fucking
podcast.
nuts.
People's hearing my reaction to the video.
Which I get if it's a cut, that's fine because it is one that's going to probably be cut. But
What about Rise of Ronin, though?
Mechanically, see again,
Because is that not a similar category?
It looks like Ghost of Tsushima, but it's not.
No,
For
right.
fuck's sake.
Rise of Ronin looks fucking spectacular.
My only concern with that is, again, I not with Rise of the Ronin, sorry, with Phantom Blade, is that I don't know the developer at all.
If that combat is actual combat and not
I
like
know, that's-
QTE stuff,
And I don't know it because
Then it's
mechanically it looks incredibly complex.
if it's quick time event stuff, I'm less impressed. If it's like you can actually do some of that stuff,
Which
I'm
they
like,
haven't shown, which is why I don't know what it's going to be yet.
But unfortunately, Rise of the Ronin's by Team Ninja, so I
would sooner keep Rise of the Ronin.
Rise of the Ronin
I would go the
very
other way.
Tsushima.
Oh, see, I was
You
going to
think?
say the other way. Yeah, I'm a little bit. The Team Ninjas are. It's going to be a Souls-like, man.
Yeah, if it's just another
Don't you think? Like
Neo, because that's
Neo,
Team
that's
Ninja's
yeah.
thing now,
exactly
isn't
what
it?
it looks like to me, and not in a bad way. An
No,
upcoming
but-
action role-playing video game by Team Ninja and Sony that
Okay, now.
says this is a Souls-like to me, but I don't know.
I don't
can't
think
see.
either of them stay on
shit
our
year.
list, but I do
That
think
looks
there's
incredible.
a possibility.
Which one?
Phantom Blade Zero.
Yeah, if they pull that off, I don't know.
I'd rather
what
keep
game
Phantom
that
Blade
is.
Zero over Rise of the Ronin for now, but like
I mean, yeah.
You can lose Rise of the Ronin. I put it on there, I think, recently because I watched the trailer after the Game Awards. But yeah,
so I think so.
Rise of the
S-Game,
Rise of the Ronin.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
cut
okay, I'm
Rise.
just looking at something else on the screen. I'll cut Rise, but Phantom Blade Zero. So again, not to try and set anyone's alarm bells off, is not the first game in this series. There's a game
there's
called
a
Phantom Blade
Blade.
Executioners, which was a fast-paced action RPG.
yeah, which no one ever heard of.
That's what I'm getting at. Is that not weird?
Well, it depends if it was something that was released in the
In
East
fact,
or I don't know.
Phantom Blade Executioners, it says it's coming soon, so I don't know what to think anymore. And that also looks incredible and gorgeous, and I feel like I'm being catfished almost by the developer. Because that's if you get a chance, look up Phantom Blade Executioners, and that also
I did
looks
the other day. Yeah, I didn't
unbelievable.
realize that was coming. I thought that was like
beautiful,
Japan only or something.
painterly art style.
Oh my god!
I
Sorry.
don't understand how I haven't heard of either of these games until this moment, but that's fine. I'm confused.
It could be one of those. I don't know if it's Korean, and you know how sometimes the Korean games they don't show anything. Like no one heard of Crossfire X before they.
But this is
suddenly-
why I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like
I don't mind cutting it. Is what I'm saying. Like if
Well,
we
it's
can't
not-
be sure it's even coming this year for one,
I think it.
I'm sure I've read that it's 2024, but I wouldn't sign my name on it.
I'm trying to find. There's not a Steam page. No, it's
I think it's-
PlayStation only. That's
Yeah,
why.
I think it's PS5 exclusive, PlayStation
it is.
exclusive,
Which makes you think it's probably is real. At least that
Yeah.
much. It just says release date to be confirmed on Sony's website. This game has just been announced. Check back to get the latest news, screenshots, and trailer. But that
So
just
does that
could
mean
be.
we have to cut it?
I think
it's a
too
safe cut.
suspicious, right?
yeah. And like I said, until I can see gameplay, I don't know
Has
how
it
that
just
combat
been
works,
announced?
because-
Like literally just been announced?
No, it was.
I
There
can't
was
even
a
find a
trailer
Wikipedia
snuck
page
out.
for it.
A trailer snuck out a few months ago. No one paid attention, and then it got a lot of buzz on YouTube because people saw the combat and started talking about it. But the developer, I think, is quite cagey. Sony aren't really saying much about it beyond trailers.
Okay. What do,
So
what
I
do you want
don't
to do?
know.
What do we want to do?
I'm comfortable cutting it, and
It
I'll put it
hasn't
on
got a
there,
release
so
date.
And we'll be pleasantly surprised when we play it.
I hope so.
Shall
yeah.
I read down what's left on the list just to give people a
Go for it.
refresher? So, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Dragon's Dogma 2, Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden, Lightyear Frontier, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, The Plucky Squire, Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus, Tekken 8, Helldivers 2, Visions of Mana. Pardon me.
Can't believe Banishers has made it this far.
Go on then.
Yeah, what is Banished?
I was going to ask this one. I don't know what it is. The rest
It's a
I
Don't
know.
Nod game.
Oh, that one. Yeah, they just announced it. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not a Don't Nod like Life is Strange. It's a Don't Nod like Remember Me, which
It's coming out in February next year.
Which no one remembers.
Well, I remember.
I remember that one. I'm afraid. Sorry to ruin the joke, but I remember that one.
Fantastic.
But it was a funny joke.
I know it was.
I did
but that
remember
got
it.
a do in that game.
Yeah,
Wrongly
criminally
so,
underrated,
yeah.
as people would say.
It's a third-person action role-playing game, and it's coming on February 13th.
Yeah, it's very soon. I think it looks fucking great, but it's going to be a hard sell for this list because
not gonna
you
make
guys
this
probably
list.
won't play it. But
I'll
I'm
play
going
it,
to
but
play
it won't make this list.
But yeah, it deserved a mention, and I think that's why I put it on there.
And cut. Okay, what have we not talked about? Prince of Persia, Dragon's Dogma. Well, Dragon's Dogma 2 is a lock, right?
For me,
Yeah.
100%.
Final Fantasy.
Masterworks All, mate. Sorry, Karen.
What was that?
The Masterworks All. You can't go wrong.
That's true.
Thank God Mick laughed. Jesus Christ.
I got you, mate. I'm there.
Fucking hell.
So we haven't talked about Prince of Persia, Dragon's Dogma 2, which we will talk about, but it's definitely a lock. Lightyear Frontier, Final Fantasy. We haven't talked about Like a Dragon. In fact, we haven't talked about any of these games yet.
As well, actually.
Apart from Bow and Tekken and Helldivers. Which one, sorry? Is it a lock?
Like a Dragon.
Oh, God, I hope so.
Surely, right?
It's my number one.
Even I want to play that, and I've only played the last one.
Do we want to start locking and just see where that leaves
I'm worried
us?
because I like that's 4. But yeah, I don't disagree.
I'd be comfortable to lock a couple right now.
I think Like a Dragon and Final Fantasy and Dragon's Dogma are the 3 obvious locks, right?
Yeah. 100%.
I definitely agree with 2 of them. So
Yeah.
sure.
But like they're the obvious ones for the
Which
group,
one don't
I
you
would say.
agree with, Lyle? Dragon's Dogma, not for you.
Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really click with the
No,
first
nor
one.
did I, but I
makes
totally get that
That's
needs
cool.
to be on this list, 100%. Modern
I
Capcom.
did. I've played it. On,
I'd like to talk about the Plucky
platforms.
Squire because I think
Sure.
we've got to start talking about like what we think would be a lock, and this is a lock for me because it just looks.
Oh, Chris White, I love you. I love him.
You thought you were going to cut it?
No,
This was one I was going to also suggest as a lock, and
I think this has potential. Like It Takes Two potential.
So I'm looking this up because I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't followed it.
It
'cause
looks
again,
ridiculous.
it's-
Like
Yeah, it
multiple different art styles. You got your top down. You've got your 3D like world like your It Takes Two. You've got your side scrolly bits, and the way it seems to just flow between them all, offering different kind of genres of gameplay as
Holy
well.
shit! Wait,
It just
bloody
looks
hell.
stunning.
Oh,
I
this-
think,
Okay,
like,
this is not what I
this-
thought it was.
I
I
would
get
thought
like
this
Nobody
was
Saves
soon.
the World vibes occasionally from it as well. From the...
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
nagging the PR about this because it had gone really quiet and it was announced for this year, and it's like, hey, isn't this supposed to be soon? And they're like, oh, yeah. And then of course
Yeah,
the
and then
delay
they
came
delayed
out. It's
it.
like,
Have you seen some of the?
oh
art
mate, we've
styles
seen
in
all of
this?
it, mate.
Yeah,
We've seen all
yeah.
of it.
Ridiculous.
Also, by the way,
Jesus.
whether this matters or not in terms of pedigree, but the publisher's Devolver, I believe.
Yeah.
So you'd think
Yep.
that's good. They don't have 100% hit rate, but they are pretty good.
They're pretty
pretty high,
solid.
yeah.
8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 games they release are normally bangers.
Oh, right,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's. I don't think that's a cut.
That was
Sort
the
of
other
like
one
not-
I was
at
really
least
keen
not
to
yet.
lock, if
Not
I'm
at all.
honest.
But there's still Prince of Persia and Lightyear Frontier, which also.
Well, we're in a unique position with Prince of Persia because I've played it.
Okay.
Get you, Benny Big Potatoes.
By the time this goes live, our preview will be up on it, and it's glowing. And Chris White, I spoke to you for the video, and like it is a proper.
I'm dying to play it.
It is a proper Metroidvania. It is a proper
Metroidvania.
Metroidvania. It's really weird, and I mentioned this in the video, so sorry to repeat myself. But like The Last Faith, like Cookie Cutter, it is one of them. It is no souls in this game. This is a Metroidvania. The boss battles are killer. The powers is. I'm really intrigued to see how long it is, because I played 3 hours and I got like several new powers, and it doesn't just it does this thing like you get a bow in it early on. But that's not it's not just the bow that you get as the power. The bow also has like a chakram you can throw from it, and you can aim, but you can also just spam it to hit enemies. It's like there's multiple powers per power, if that makes sense. And it's got all the Ubisoft stuff in there as well, like leveling up abilities and stuff like that. And it's also got Ubisoft style storytelling in it. So it's not like the Metroidvanias where you get an intro cutscene and then it's like, yeah, and we'll tell you the end when we get to the end. But the rest of it's gameplay. There are stories in there. There's lots of characters. I'm like, these all seem like they're important enough to be part of the story, and I haven't seen any of them again properly for 2.5 hours.
Stunning as well. Like it
is a very nice looking game.
gorgeous.
Of the list where we've got like Bow and this, I'd keep this because I've played it, which is a really weird. I don't think we've ever had this before, where one of us has actually played. And I not like a 20-minute demo. I played 3 hours of it, so I played. And unless they really fuck it up, there is an enemy in the middle of the 3 hours I played that was a bit like, oh, don't like that much, but it's one enemy. If they lean into that later on and do more of that, then it will definitely. But what I played of it, I don't think it's a game that every publication would be like, oh, 10 out of 10. I do think it's the sort of game that people like us like. But I will say, of this list, knowing, look, I'm with Lyle, Dragon's Dogma 2 wouldn't quite be a lock for me. But I do think the Plucky Squire, like a Dragon Final Fantasy, are on there. And then that means I'm in a bind because I really, really want to play Lightyear Frontier.
Lightyear Frontier.
So Lightyear Frontier, did they say that that's coming early access at the start of next year, though? And
I hope so, because that will make this so much easier.
Yeah.
I think that's a technicality, because I remember...
March 2024 early access, you're absolutely right.
Do it.
Oh, cut it then, we're fine.
But to be clear, we're all playing it.
Oh, yeah.
In storage.
Hands down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Wait, okay, good. Just checking. Phew.
Yeah,
it's like Hades 2. We're all going to play. We're all going to play that for sure.
It looks gorgeous,
okay,
man.
Tell you what, as well, I think we have to cut Tekken. I think we do.
I think we cut everything below Plucky Squire now,
lads.
Right. I do.
Well, we haven't heard about Visions of Mana, and
no, but it is going right.
But it does. Well, it seems like it's either going or Prince of Persia is going to have to go, because I know you guys love Metroidvanias. So, like, if we're saying, hang on, for the video watchers, if we're saying those 4 are locks, if we're agreeing that is the 4 that are definitely in a top 5, well, we're looking at what's number 5 on the list, then, aren't we?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's how maths works.
But what I'm saying is, I think Visions of Mana. I don't.
You're cheeky shit after all.
Oh, mate, I'm on the floor.
I know.
It's just the ice now, minty ice.
So what would
Fuck
you
everyone.
cut? What would you
Lock
cut?
Visions of Mana, you cunt.
Okay, Chris, but what would you cut?
No, listen, right? Let's be really clear.
How much of alcohol did your wife put in that?
No one. Not a lot. Far too little for how drunk I am.
Okay.
Right? Visions of Mana. It's my number 1, but it's on no one else's list. And it's only my number 1 because it's clearly the spiritual successor to my favourite game of all time. Like, I was probably quite emotional at the time. I'd just woken up. But when I saw the trailer, I got shivers and a tear in my eye because it's literally the music, the enemies, the characters and everything, the magic and stuff, all from Secret of Mana. It's literally... It's the fuck it that they shit on the Secret of Mana remake, but that was dog shit by my standards. And like this feels like they could actually do a right service to my favourite game ever. So, it's not. Can I ask you a question?
Well, hang on. Can I ask you a question then?
Yeah.
Actually, no. This is an important question. Actually, I think for Lyle. Actually,
I think I know where you're going, and I am interested.
Well, you would be interested in this game, right? It's a Square Enix JRPG, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100% interested. Secret of Mana passed me by. It's like one of the only.
So you're in the same boat as me then. That's the same for me.
I am.
I just somehow missed it. I was all into the Final Fantasy.
Don't play the remake.
I won't play the remake. That's fine. But like, hearing your passion and knowing how much I love this sort of game. There's a chance that I could potentially be swayed for sure.
I think in the spirit of Christmas, it's number 5, and Prince of Persia would be 6. But I just think Prince of Persia is a weird one because I've played it. So I feel weird about having it on the list. It's kind of a given.
I think that's fair.
It's difficult, right? Because
I can't believe he's still talking. Like he's just got his game at 5, and it sounds like he's going to try and cut it.
No. Hang on though. So it depends because I could love this game. And it'd be an 8.
Can I just say?
Do you know what I mean? And like,
it could be an 8. I haven't played enough of it to know for sure.
I'm just saying, like
I'm anticipating this one.
Yeah, I think most people saw it and were like, do you know what? I think it was a weird announcement. I think it deserved a bigger announcement than it got.
I was not expecting it at all. Like
because when I dropped that trailer in the Telegram, I was like, has no one spotted this yet? Like, it didn't seem like it had even been picked up, and then the press release came in late morning. And it's like, I don't know. It just seemed weirdly low key for, because like I say, it's the series that passed me by, but I'm well aware of it. Like, I'm well aware of its provenance. You know, the provenance of it was with Final Fantasy and all that, and I would have. Correct me if I'm wrong. With Square Enix doing like Star Ocean and stuff like that, I would have had the provenance of like Mana above.
Yeah, they've done Star Ocean, they've done Valkyrie Profile, they've done all these. Like,
I would have had Mana as.
It's all been remakes. The last.
No, but what I mean is, I missed Mana, but I would have certainly thought it was more of a beloved franchise than Star Ocean. I may be wrong, perhaps. But...
I would have thought so too, but I mean, I guess it was further back because like those other.
But it was the number 2 franchise, wasn't it? It was like Final Fantasy and Mana. That was, wasn't it? Back then,
but
I think so.
But I mean, I guess it only really stuck around for like really back then. It didn't.
And
really
I guess they've done harm rather than. I'm happy with it at 5.
Yeah.
It depends on what everyone else says. While we're here, are we removing Bow, Tekken, and Helldivers?
I think we do. I think we just put Visions at 5.
Yeah.
If you hadn't have played Prince of Persia, we'd all still be kind of.
Yeah, I think so.
Also, the only thing I was going to ask is if there was a chance that any people were thinking of maybe putting Prince of Persia instead of Dragon's Dogma 2. Just because that's my personal preference. If anyone else, I don't know where
we've got no chance of this. It's
okay, just checking.
I mean, look,
we're a big Metro.
I played it at a preview, and even I'm like, I want to play more of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I could get. I mean, Prince of Persia is another one of my massive. It's on my list, but so is Dragon's Dogma. So is Final Fantasy.
I will say that I think Prince of Persia is going to be the best Ubisoft game in a long time, and that's not shitting on Ubisoft because I won't do that. I like Avatar, I like Assassin's Creed, I like Far Cry, but they've grown in a way that they've become. I don't think for me quite as much, but I totally have respect for them, and they're the money makers that allow this sort of game, I think, to still happen. So it's the same way people have a go at FIFA, and it's like, yeah, you don't seem to understand. FIFA means you get EA originals, probably not directly, but probably.
Yeah.
But
money.
Yeah,
they need a game like Prince of Persia.
I think so too. That's the other thing. Like,
I realised that we've not even talked about Assassin's Creed Mirage. Like, it literally features in none of our lists.
There's 2 games like that this year. There was another game like that this year, and I won't bring it up now. What was the game of the year? Or in fact, I think it's on the list.
I think
it's Bethesda game. If that helps you.
Oh no, I'm thinking of one that me and you really liked, and it didn't feature anywhere.
Right now, I'm concerned.
It's not on the list.
Yeah.
Dead Island 2. We haven't even mentioned
that's
it
fair.
anywhere.
That's fair. I think. I don't know. The thing I came away from with Prince of Persia is that I wanted to play more of it, and I mentioned this. Like, I don't know how you guys play games in this way, but I don't tend to sit down for 3 hours at a time anymore. I just don't. I mean, it's rare. If I do, it's like, this is a banger. I can't stop.
Yeah.
I'll tend to play a couple, go off, do something. Might come back that day, or again later that day, or the next day. But I don't tend to sit down and be like, I'm just playing this for 8 hours today. It just doesn't happen. So it was and so when a preview event's 3 hours, I'm a bit like, fucking hell, I don't want to play any game for 3 hours really these days. That's a long time. The fact I finished that session, and I was like, I just want to carry on. That story was getting really good. I want to know what power I was about. It's got a lot of heart. I'm not 100% sure whether the story is going to be amazing. I don't think it has to be for a Metroidvania. I don't think that's a prerequisite for any Metroidvania. It's nice when they are, but like, I loved The Last Faith. I couldn't tell you a fucking beat of that game's story. Not one. I couldn't tell you
name was Eric, I
thing.
think.
Eric, spelt wrong.
Yeah.
That you picked up. That's about as much as I picked it up. There was a lady who had a pram that you gave, I think, fetuses to. I don't know. But this, I did come away feeling like it had a lot of heart. So I'm happy, but I'm happy to seed it for Visions of Mana because of Chris. Like, it is. I just think, what if it was? I don't know. What's the game? What if it was right? What if they just announced Alan Wake 2 now, and it was just me and Lyle or something desperate for Alan Wake 2? We've been waiting all these years. I'd like to think that overrides it a bit. So I'm happy to cut Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Oh,
if
guys,
that's the way the room is.
Next year, when we look back and you go, why the fuck did we pick this?
That's exciting. I'm excited to be really upset next
after
year.
they've delayed it into 2027.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'd be surprised we're not talking about these 5 at the end of the year. Let's be honest. It's a good 5.
If Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth isn't being talked about next year, I will set fire to my own hair. And I haven't got any, so I'd have to grow it back and then set fire to it.
Yeah.
I've got enough under there, just not enough to set fire to.
We didn't even mention Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's just
but man, it's the sequel to. Like, I've
oh, absolutely, guys. Oh,
I
Jesus
don't know
Christ,
if that's not number. I nearly said it, and then I pulled myself back from it.
It's my number one on that list.
It's my number one as well. I had
two.
It was my game of the year that year. So
was it
like
really?
the one before it? Yeah, I think I was the only one on the site.
That seems mad that it was yours and not mine somehow. That must have been a banger.
It was on my list. It was on my top 10.
What was the other? What was number one?
No, on his own list is your CC.
Yeah, what was your number one on that?
Mine would have been The Last of Us Part 2, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
that's probably why. But like Rebirth, I've swung so many different ways on because I'm also gutted because I was supposed to go and preview it and I didn't get. I fucked up and didn't go. So I could have been able to talk about this like I talked about Prince of Persia. But Rebirth, I swung like by the end of the first game, the first remake, Final Fantasy VII remake. I was like, I was not one of these people that's like, well, how dare they? Because like I'm never that guy. I'm like, look, my original game still exists. You can play on Switch, like if you want to. It's still there. It's still fine. I thought they did really.
What they did anyway.
No, I didn't mind what they did, and I thought they did right by it. I liked everything about that game. I really did. But now we are into the territory where this is going to be way more of a divergence from that story, while also giving us Red 13 and by the looks of it, Kite Sith and I think Vincent's in some of the trailers, and Yuffie, and that is how you pronounce it, Yuffie. I'm sorry, you're wrong, Square Enix. It's Yuffie. It's not Yuffie. But so there's at least 4 more characters plus, and like I'm interested to see if I almost don't want to. No, I'm not going to say it because I know it's a spoiler from like a 1990s odd game. But will they do it? Will they do it, or will they not? Because let's face it,
they could actually not.
Well, I think would I be wrong? I don't want them to do it. I want them to. That's the bit you change. Change that bit. That's fine. Back in the day, there were people that used to hack the discs and hack stuff so they could make it so that character was still playable later on because they didn't want that scene to happen. I'm not going to say it, but like, you could. I mean, that's the biggest thing you could change if you really wanted to change something. And also, there is a lot of shit that they do have to explain that was all new. Like, the guys in the hooded guys that were all new.
The guy with the bike, he was completely new.
Yep, there's a lot new, and now we're going out. I think it could be something genuinely special. The only reason it isn't my number one is because Like a Dragon exists, and like that, from what I didn't know until the other day. Chris White, was it you that told? No, it was Mikhail that told me this. I didn't realise until the other day. This game has got dual protagonists. It is not just Ichiban's story. It is Ichiban and Kiryu.
Yeah.
Now I knew
Chris
it was
did
big.
say that. To be fair,
it was Chris.
Defend him.
I couldn't remember if it was Chris or Mick because I talked to them both about these games because they have great taste. But like, I didn't realise this because I saw this trailer they'd released that showed I just call it the bucket list trailer. And I watched it. I didn't want to watch it, but I did because I felt I had to. And I watched it and I'm like, I don't get it. How come this whole trailer for this game coming out in January is about Kiryu, but it's Ichiban's game? And that's when Chris told me, but it's dual protagonists. I'm like, oh, because I knew it was going to be big because there's that developer quote about how it's the biggest game they've ever made and it's massive, blah, blah, blah. But when I heard that, I'm like, oh, wow, this is going to be like Persona big, I think, and a new location finally, and back to the RPG.
You're finishing his story properly. I'm telling you, it's over. It's ending. And that trailer,
I don't believe you.
That trailer is so.
It's going to bait and switch it. They're just going to bait and switch us. They have to. They can't.
The story is going to be amazing, right? But the gameplay, forget the story for a minute. If the gameplay from the first one was insane.
And they've already added to it from the demo alone. You can see they've added to it.
From the demo, yeah. And just what are we going to get?
I don't know, man.
The whole RPG elements are going to be amazing.
I get the feeling this is their magnum opus.
The build, like the Animal Crossing, like
yeah,
I don't know.
That's right.
It'd be ridiculous.
I get the feeling this is their like absolute magnum opus, like the thing they have been building to for a very long time. So is Dragon's Dogma 2 number 3, and then we have to vote for number 1? Or is Dragon's... What is that? Is that right? Am I reading this right?
I think that's fair, yeah.
I'd put Dragon's Dogma at 3, and then probably leave. But
I'm quite surprised, Mick, that Dragon's Dogma isn't your number 1, but I get why Final Fantasy VII is. I mean,
Final Fantasy VII is my number 1. Dragon's Dogma is my number 2, but I also know how much Like a Dragon means to the group.
It sounds like a dragon just because of how some people are speaking. Like, it does feel like number 1 and 2 are either Final Fantasy or Like a Dragon.
Like, I mean, we can vote if you like.
I think it's Final Fantasy 7. I do. Lyle, it's yours. Mick, it's yours. Oh, hello a minute. No, hang on, just a second. Hang on.
Wait a minute.
Just a second. Hang on, Chris. Can I talk? I know. What if I talk about how the trailer to Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth made me
Chris
cry?
Hyde is going to make Like a Dragon win again.
Don't do this to me again. They hated me last time.
I think it is down to you because I'm pretty sure, Chris. Why? I might be wrong, but what would be your number 1?
Oh, it's Like a Dragon.
So it is the same.
However, like they're both incredible.
I'm not going to be upset by either.
No, I'm literally not. I'm not that I do care greatly. What I mean is
a great list.
I can't wait for both of them. But I'll take either one. But I would
games.
100% put Like a Dragon one. But fucking hell, what a
Just
five.
pick one, Mr. Hyde.
It's the one list where we can actually say I genuinely don't care. Because those two games are going to be talked about next year at this time. So, Chris, it is down to you to pick which one. Basically, you are most anticipating, and that wins the list.
Yeah,
and you can flip a coin, and no one's going to be upset this time. This isn't like where you robbed us last time. This is different.
Yeah, where we were all really upset and hated you. Yeah.
Oh, the trailer to Infinite Wealth made me cry, didn't it, you, Chris?
Oh, I was in tears.
Oh no, he's gonna.
I was bawling my eyes out. Ugly tears they were, Chris.
Yeah.
It didn't. It was really sad. Have you seen it, Lyle? Actually, because I know you're a fan of the series.
No,
I reckon.
I don't know enough about it.
I reckon we lock the order as it is.
Okay. Yeah,
I really didn't like the American accents. You know, on the trailer, because I'm so used to playing it in like.
You did or didn't?
No, I don't. I've always played it native.
Mate. So have I.
So when
always
they're
played it
talking
with
in
Japanese.
American, it's so weird.
I didn't care for that because they also released a trailer for Gaiden, the man who erased his own name, but with the English dub, and I'm like, nope.
I just assumed everyone would play it with subtitles.
I think that list is right for the
yeah.
And I feel like if Final Fantasy 7 will make a fool of us. I think, Chris, it's not like you and I are going to be upset. That game's going to be good, man. Isn't it on 2
we
discs
get it
or
next
something?
month, so.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right.
Told you it was shit.
In 5th place for most anticipated of 2024, going to have to get used to saying that, is Visions of Mana. 4th place is The Plucky Squire. 3rd place, Dragon's Dogma 2. I was not surprised to me. I knew that was in there. 2nd place, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. And the most anticipated game of 2024, according to GodisaGeek, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh, hang on.
That's the list.
Quite well, a bit funny. Rebirth. Well, it's time then. It's time to do a top 10. There's no way to get around it. It's just a thing we have to do now. We've got this far. But I will ask, does anyone remember what he thinks? I tell you what, last year wasn't bad, but can anyone remember what won it? I mean, I can.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't God of War win all 5 spots?
Probably, but do you know what came second?
Elden Ring.
Yeah. 3rd is a cracking game, Mick.
Mick specifically.
Midnight Suns.
Ooh!
I tell you what, last year was a banger. Horizon Forbidden West, Tinykin, Nobody Saves the World, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, A Plague Tale Requiem, Pokemon Legends Arceus, and Immortality. How the No, it's not that. It's fine.
Careful, because he will riot.
No, I remember why, yeah.
Yeah, I remember why.
Yeah,
I don't.
I remember all my great games being cut for that fucker.
I got a lot of games to read.
I
got a lot of games to read, lads, so I'm going to just knock into the top 10 nominees are Resident Evil 4 Remake, Fire Emblem Engage, Dead Space, Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, Metroid Prime Remastered, Theatre Rhythm Final Bar Line, Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, Wild Hearts, House Flipper 2, Octopath Traveler 2, Paranormal Sight, The Seven Mysteries of Honjo, Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon, Have a Nice Death, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Street Fighter 6, Lies of P, Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, Mortal Kombat 1, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Sea of Stars, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Oxenfree 2, Aliens Dark Descent, Pikmin 4, Remnant 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Cocoon, Astral Ascent, Persona 5 Tactica, The Last Faith, and I'm going to add on to the end, because why not, Cookie Cutter.
Yes. I was going to, and I thought, do I add another one to this massive list? But it deserves to be on there.
I think so.
Right, lads.
Right.
Certainly for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
the scary thing is there's only 2 or 3 that really stand out to me.
Well, I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm thinking this.
I'm gonna wave the technicality flag or whatever we're using.
Go on.
Metroid Prime Remastered.
I didn't even know I read that out, and I just read it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go.
Right.
It's great, but it's the rules, so I can't argue with the rules. So,
well, that's one gone. Easy.
Theatre Rhythm Final Bar Line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not getting to the end, is it?
No, it's on my personal list. It's number 16. So
I love the fact you've gone down so far. I've played this a lot, but it's just one of the it's like the kind of little shitty thing you play on your phone, like kind of to fill time.
Whoa, okay.
No, in a good way.
It's 16, not 69.
I play Secret of Manitudes on it, as has been discussed. It ain't gonna make top 10. Not in this year.
It's great, but
it's a great game if you love Square Enix music. Fucking play it. No, it's not.
Okay, it's cut.
Let's have another one.
Fire Emblem Engage doesn't make it.
Yeah, it's a cut.
Yeah, it's good though.
No, it's a brilliant game.
Yeah.
And you get to polish rings really vigorously.
I felt like it was like a greatest hits without being an actual greatest hits. Like I felt like it brought everything together that they've done in Fire Emblem for like the past. Because Fire Emblem's success is not an old tale; it is a modern one. It's a bit like Yakuza now, I think, in that respect. It's got to it rose to popularity a lot later than you'd think.
Well, it was because of Smash, quite frankly. So it was popular. It was popular in like Japan, and then like someone went, "Who the fuck is Marth and why is he in Smash Brothers?" And then they just started bringing them all over, and that's how it happened. But
Engage was the first one I played, and it made me want to play the others. I remember speaking to Adam about it, and he said, "Well, Engage, it's because it is kind of a greatest hits."
The opening to Engage, where they kind of tease a load of the characters. I remember messaging you, Adam. I was like, "Oh my god, it's my boy Roy, it's my boy Ike, it's my boy Crom. Let's go!" Like it is a greatest hits. It is, but it's good. It's just not 2023 top 10 good, and it's a shame. But it's a good game in the series. It's solid.
Again, it was early in the year as well, so it's been kind of
January, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's
January,
been piled on so much by other good. Like I'm not
everything
saying
else,
game, but everything else. Yeah, but it's I don't mind that being a cut.
It's a cut.
I can keep going if you like.
Go for it, mate.
Wild Hearts.
Yeah, Wild Hearts doesn't make a top 10.
No. Shame.
It's a lovely game, a lovely
idea. It's a shame
idea.
that EA have abandoned it so fast as well, because
it is a shame.
It had so much potential to grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. It was on my list for a long time this year, but it's not stayed on my top 10 now. So
it's not on mine or yours, mate. It's
is it?
Yeah.
I have an easy one if you want. I was going to say
Have a Nice Death was the one I was going to go to as well, if I'm honest with you.
Right. Again, it's another one that I think was added early. I think it's not in my top 20 anymore, personally. So again,
what is your top number, by the way?
Don't ask him that.
I go to 60.
60, right?
Yeah.
What is 60?
So yeah. I don't know, actually. I've got 58 currently, and I've got 2 review games I'm pretty sure are going to slot in there somewhere.
Carry on.
That's a podcast on its own. Lyle's
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop giving people ideas.
Dead Last 60.
So that's a cut, yeah? Have a Nice Death. Really nice game.
Yeah, really good game.
Yeah, really lovely looking game. Reminds me of something.
All these games are great, to be fair. They haven't made the list if they're not great.
Aliens.
Yeah, you sort of took it out of my mouth there. I had it installed on PS5 for about a month, and I just didn't play it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
It really is, and I said it in the review, so I'm not going to bang on, and it is a cut, so I'm not going to try and defend it and stick it on the list. But genuinely, the most authentic, the best Aliens experience.
What about Isolation? Or
no, I'm talking Aliens. They're such different things. Alien, and I said it in the review. Alien Isolation was the best Alien we've had. This was the best Aliens. It nailed everything. And again, this was on my list for a bit. It was surpassed by other things, but yeah, it's a cut. But what a great game! Really good. They did a really good job.
I think
I have more.
Sure.
Oxenfree 2 sadly doesn't make this list.
I think,
and it's so annoying. But it doesn't, because I mean, geez, I'm looking at the others and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Again, it's tumbled off my list as well.
Yeah, it's a great game. We obviously played it loads, in the run up to launch. Had loads of chats about it. It's quite clever. But I mean, I think we spoke about it on previous day. There's parts of it that fall on its predecessor's shadow a little bit, but it's still a good game. I know Lyle, it was on your I really want to try this, list.
I hope you do get a chance to do this. I know that with next year coming, it's you just don't know what's going to happen, but it would be. Yeah, you would like it.
Quite a short game, you can do it in a couple of hours. It's not up there with the. It's not going to make a top 10.
No, it's not. But it was good. It deserved its spot.
In that same spirit, I think Cocoon falls under that same list, really.
I didn't play that. I wanted to, but I didn't.
I think I prefer Cocoon to to Oxenfree 2. I think I do, actually. I think Cocoon's a really beautiful game, and I think it's a really clever game.
It's incredible.
It really is a good game.
Smart puzzler.
Yeah. But
it's an extension of Inside and Limbo. It does something differently. It's not just the same developer going, well, let's do Limbo, but do Inside and make it the same.
But you sort of can also kind of tell the cleverness of it. It's
telling its story through the actions. It's
environmental storytelling.
And it's well worth playing.
It's on Game Pass again. I think I said that on one of the other days, and it's no excuse not to play it. Really, it is a really nice game. Not that long, I don't think, if I remember.
No, it's about 5-6 hours, if that.
But it's really clever.
I really hope I get a chance to get to it, but I just.
I think it's actually a step up from the sort of Insides and Limbos.
Really clever as well, like visually, like the way you jump into worlds, it's so clever.
I mean, it made me write down plus, we draw on a piece of paper to get solutions to puzzles.
Yeah.
It's one of them. I don't think any other game's done that this year. They're not hard. They're more memory based.
No, but that kind of thing I like. That.
No, you'd love this game, definitely. But I just think the fact that two of us played it, it kind of disqualifies itself by virtue of that, and that not so much just because of that, but because there's not that much passion coming from it, is it? So is it gone, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, can I be a heartless bastard?
And
make a cut that's true, but it's a heartless cut. Pikmin 4 ain't making this list. And it won't, but that's what I mean by heartless cut, because it's not going to make the list, but...
It kills me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't they have released this next year or last year or the year before? Why did they have to take so long?
January the 1st.
No, I just like, it is so good and Moorish, and like I 100%ed it, and it took like I played a Pikmin game for 30 plus hours, man. Like that is, but
I let them crawl over me on the toilet.
You did, but it is a cut. God damn. Oh yeah.
It feels bad though, doesn't it?
I acknowledged it was a heartless cut. Like I did say, like I'm not just.
But when you think about it, like Sean mentioned this when we previewed it, like it is essentially a game about dragging people's corpses around. So it's like maybe it's not as much of a, we think of it all as this cutesy thing, but it isn't really when you think about it. Like you are killing these native animals, whatever they are. I forget the names of those things. The one that looks a bit like a dog, that's on two legs with its big eyes. You kill it and then drag it to your ship and make it a resource. It's pretty horrible.
So what you're
really
saying is that you're ruining Pikmin for us. That's what's happening here. No, I'm cutting it and ruining it.
I'm finding
it's like when people draw the realistic Pokemon.
Feel better about cutting it. That's what he's doing.
I'm trying to justify cutting something so lovely. Like I couldn't believe how much they've done to this series, like in that one game. Like, and then there's callbacks to previous games I won't spoil.
I fucking wanted to play it. I'm so annoyed. Why is there not infinite time, everybody?
Yeah, I know, it is the one that I'm like...
Definitely want. I mean, I will admit it isn't in my top 10.
If it's not in yours, I really feel like that tells you it's not going to make it.
Yeah. I can cut some easy ones.
I can keep cutting really nice games.
No, let Lyle cut some easy ones, but I need a little. I need to sip my beer.
Persona 5 Tactica is a brilliant tactics game, and I really, really liked it. It slipped just off my top 10 personally, and I don't think anyone else is really gonna champion it. Really cool, but totally fine to cut
exactly the same as you. It was there when I first played. It was there, and then we had just a few more bangers slip in that I hadn't played or hadn't played enough of, and it just pushed it into the honourable mentions. So yeah, okay. But cool. Persona fans are eating well at the moment, let's face it.
Oh, seriously, yeah, really, really well. And then I think we could also say the same for Paranormasight. I think it was, again, me championing that game. And I think it getting its due in best moment, that was the best thing about that game easily. It's not in my personal top 10.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, and so it doesn't make sense to stay here.
Absolutely.
But really, really cool game. If you like visual novels or if you want to try visual novels, that's the game.
That's the one.
I want to try it over Christmas.
It's the right length. It's got the right
incredible.
kind of sort of weirdness to it. It's definitely the bridge gapper kind of thing, like for visual novels, 100%.
Yeah.
This is easy. This is
one of mine.
Go on.
If you want. Lies of P. Because no one else is going to.
That's not the one I thought you were going to go for first of yours. If I was going to pick one of yours, an obvious one of yours, I would have picked Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
I was probably going to come to that more or less straight.
I think Lies of P deserves to be talked about in a bit more depth, a little bit longer, because I think
it is fantastic.
It's fantastic. You gave it a 10, if I recall, and it is the closest to Bloodborne I have played since Bloodborne, and I think that warrants a little bit more discustion than an early cut. I would rather cut Avatar to get the list down than that. Like, I think Avatar's really, really nice.
The only reason I put it forward is because I don't think Lies of P will stay, because I think I'm the only one who really played a significant amount, and I finished it. So.
And it's a tough year for it, but at the same time, like I at least like the idea of keeping a few around that are like.
I'd like to talk about Lies of P a bit deeper as we get closer, because I think there's a good discussion to be had. And you did give it a 10. You did give it a 10. Like, that's a big. Mick, and you don't give too many of them. I know you've given a few this year, but you don't give too many 10s out. I'd say of all of us, you're probably the less. Yeah. But I mean, Avatar is a game that came out very recently. Is a very good game of its ilk.
I think it's the best Far Cry game we've had. In some
but it isn't.
That isn't a Far Cry game. I do think. I don't know. Has anyone else played it apart from Adam?
I have. I've had a good few hours of it.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I like it.
I do. It really is. It's a very good Ubisoft game, but it is absolutely a Ubisoft game. Like, this is not the sort of game where you go, oh, it's a really good shooter, it's a really good. No, it's a Ubisoft game.
Do you know what I'd have genuinely loved them to do? I'd have loved them to have left the game exactly as it was, but made it third person, and then no bastard could have gone on and on about Far Cry.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's not third person, because you spend some time in third person.
And you're in the air a lot.
When you fly, when you... Yeah. And once you unlock the ability to travel by those means, like you get the ikra and the bird, you get a horse. When you get those things, you don't spend, like, when you travel, that's what you're always.
But it's also a game where when you're not traveling, you're doing a lot of platforming and stuff, and that's just better in third person. Like, a lot of the early stuff, you're climbing trees and walking along stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not dissing the game.
The first person movement in that is fantastic. Like, they really nailed, I think, the height and power and weight. You feel like
Master Chief.
Yeah, you do, and you
looking
do
down
feel
on
bigger.
humans that are like 3 foot and you're 17 foot. Yeah,
and I saw discussions where people said, "Oh, how could you take out an armored mech with a bow and arrow?" Then you look at a Navi spear; an arrow is like a spear. Like
man, whenever people say that, I just reply and say, "Because it's a video game."
Yeah.
Because there aren't really blue space creatures.
Yeah,
and
none of it's real, so like it's fine.
Blame Cameron.
Yeah,
but no, it's a cut. It's brilliant.
I think while we're at that point of the list, and while we're in the spirit of it, of cutting something a bit deep, I think Dead Space has to go at this stage, because it's a very, very good remake. But let's face it, if there's a remake on this list that stays or makes a 10, it ain't this one, is it?
No, it is in my list.
Is it?
But
fair play.
I get it. Like, it was a perfect remake, almost perfect remake. It did everything it promised it was going to do. I remember going to, we do those preview events where we just watch a presentation and they talk you through everything that it features, and they were like, yeah, you're going to be behind Isaac for the whole game. It's going to follow him through. It's not going to cut away. It's one that adds to the atmosphere and the claustrophobic nature of it. You've got you're shearing off body parts with your bullets and your blades, and it's like got great kind of physics in that sense. And then the whole procedural enemies spawning and whatnot. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure it can't be this good. And then you play it, and it's like, yeah, this is everything I wanted. And we haven't talked in depth about it, so I won't go into too much more. but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic horror game, but it isn't the best horror remake of the year.
No. So am I?
So I'm fine to. Yeah.
Okay. It's now where you look going up and down the list with your eyes in.
We're getting to wind-up territory now.
Diablo 4.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's not making a top 10.
Not this year.
Maybe not last year, to be fair. It's great, and I love it. But
It feels like that number 11 game in every year it's released. It doesn't feel like
And,
it ever quite does enough to top a 10 best games of 2023 list.
And it's also one of those games where I think if Blizzard could have left it alone,
yeah,
they messed with the balancing a lot. They fucked it up and they fixed it, and then they fucked it up again and fixed it again, and then. I mean, we talked about the multiplayer and why the multiplayer wasn't the best multiplayer of the year already, which stands.
Yeah.
You know, that does affect the solo game as well. The fact that you have to be online, you have to play with others, whether you like it or not. They're there. They're a presence in you can't play. I played Diablo 3 alone and I loved it. I platinumed it. I think I completed it on every platform possible, but I didn't do that with Diablo 4 because it didn't feel personal like Diablo 3 did, because you were constantly bombarded by other people. I just think it's good, but it ain't making our 10.
That's that then.
And there's only juicy ones left really now. Well, there isn't. There's a few on there that are snuck in.
Go for it.
Just to carry on my deep cuts. I don't think Astral Ascent makes top 10.
No, I think Astral Ascent is brilliant.
Oh, so good.
It's so good.
I mean,
it's a good Metroidvania, right? In a year of really good Metroidvanias.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's.
No, I mean, for me personally, it's just about on my list right now. But
I bumped it off recently, mine actually.
Yeah,
I feel like there's an outside chance
good.
for one of Astral, The Last Faith, and Cookie Cutter to make a top 10, but I feel like it's an outside chance for one of them. To make it, and I don't think it's.
And even then, it's still an outside chance. Like I'm not sure.
I don't.
This is going to be mental.
Yeah, I'm not sure that any of those three make the 10.
No, but I think Astral Ascent is has maybe less people behind it than those other two as well. So I think that's fair. It's a great fucking game, though. Absolutely brilliant.
These are all great games, mate.
Lovely.
This is what we're doing. Yeah.
Okie dokie. It's gone.
I've got one, and I want to bring this one up before, so I can get a chance to talk about it before some people might cut into it a little bit. Star Wars Jedi Survivor won't be in the top 10.
No,
however,
I don't think so.
I didn't have the technical issues that some people did. I can't recall. I literally
Neither
can't
did
recall
I really.
any.
No.
I can't recall anything. What I can recall is the fact that I, after review, went back and 100%ed every planet, found everything. I think I was like 98% on the platinum, and I don't do that with games. And the only reason I didn't is because I had to go and replay it to do something with Bode. But I loved the combat. I thought the combat was so good, so fluid, and when you upgrade every skill tree, so all your different stances.
Oh, the power creep is great in that game.
Oh yeah, and it's just so satisfying. The traversal satisfying, the combat satisfying, the little moments that they had through it. That there was the moment with the stormtrooper sat on the edge of that, looking over the cliff, and you just watch him, and you're like, you could just walk away. You don't. You don't.
No one did.
No, but the story was if going to canon and whatnot, and what isn't what, it doesn't really matter. They did stuff with the High Republic era of Star Wars, which no one's touched, and it's really cool that we're going to see more of that in the future. And I think that's an era like the Old Republic that could really bring people back to Star Wars, because they could do what they did with Andor and make it
Because the Old Republic is good Star Wars.
But you're not describing a cut to me here. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it makes a 10, but you're not describing a cut game.
I think if Lies of P stays, this kind of stays for now.
I'm just trying to think of ripping band-aids off, because as a team 10, I don't think it's making a 10, is it?
It's my 10. It's still my 10.
I think it's one that shouldn't be cut just yet, but because I think there are easier cuts, unless I'm reading the room wrong. But I think Mortal Kombat 1, for example, is an easier cut.
I kind of thought of the fighting games, that would be the one that didn't.
Do you know what? I can't think of it. I think the only game I gave a 10 to this year was Mortal Kombat 1.
Final Fantasy 16, you gave a 10.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Oh, fair play, though.
Look with his research. Boom!
No, he's right.
Thanks, man.
He's right.
Oh, that was fucking great. Well, if I'm cutting anyway...
There's quite a few games left on this list.
There's
Got
pretty
10s,
good
actually.
ones all around, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 10 heavy list.
Would you have given Street Fighter 6 a 10 had you reviewed it? Because I would have. I didn't review it, but I would have given it a 10.
Probably. and I think, I don't know, I'd say out of the both of them, I preferred Street Fighter, but I really love Mortal Kombat. But
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you, but like I also think we might.
I think
be
Street
the only
Fighter
ones who
I think Street Fighter just had more to it. I think
it had more content for us because we like single player content.
Street Fighter is more of a
game
our game as well.
Well, I think it's just got more content for the people like us. We like to play single player content. We don't play as much multiplayer.
Yeah, that's
as
what I
others,
mean.
perhaps.
Yeah,
I think the story was fantastic, but it was like we've talked about being like a massive 4-hour cutscene, like a movie.
Yeah, it's cracking.
With like fighting where you don't ever get comfortable with a fighter because by the time you've got used to them, you into the next character.
Yeah,
but it was phenomenal. Everything about that game I adored, but yeah.
I'd feel like, I mean, this is mad because I prefer Mortal Kombat to Star Wars Jedi, but I would feel it makes more sense for the room to cut Mortal Kombat than it does Star Wars at this. I'm not saying either make it. But I'm saying at this juncture. I just, like you mentioned about cutting Star Wars, and immediately Chris was like, I know he loves it. I know Mick loves it.
Yeah,
I know Lyle hasn't played it. I have some issues with the combat in that game.
I've played.
Oh, you have? Okay, cool. I really like the movement in Star Wars Jedi, and I don't think I would be rushing to cut it with so many games on the list. Just based on the room, I think there are others that are going to get cut without.
I've got an easy, quiet one. When we decide whether we're cutting Mortal Kombat 1 or not.
I think we have to be cutting Mortal Kombat 1, right? It's not making a 10.
I don't think both fighters are making a 10, are they?
I don't think
I'm not ready to cut Street Fighter.
Maybe.
I think Street Fighter 6 could be a surprise one. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I just mean I don't think both of them will get in the top 10.
Oh,
not
sorry.
both.
No,
I think it's one or the other. And again, I think a bit like the others, it's an outside chance for both.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Mortal Kombat goes.
Okay, Mortal Kombat's gone.
House Flipper 2.
Yeah.
I squeezed it on.
It's fantastic, by the way.
It's
Absolutely
so good.
awesome game.
And I loved the first House.
Yeah,
Flipper.
it's so good.
It's that, but they've built out on it in so many ways, haven't they? It's like an RPG now. You unlock perks and shit, and like it is such a good game.
I played so much of it since reviewing it. I just can't stop, and it really is great. But obviously, it's not staying. But...
It's a victim of it came out very late in the year. It's a victim of it being only a PC game.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that even if we all were to have reviewed it and all have given it a 9, I don't think it would make the list of best games because of maybe what it is. It is a very specific niche kind of, and I mean I just love it because it's relaxing and it's
something very
really
very different.
And it's
very
different from anything I've played this year. Anything.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think it's marvelous. But yeah, it's not staying.
No, it's not. Really cool game though, really weird. Really, everything you said, really, basically.
Can I, and pun intended, test the waters and see?
You're going to say Dredge,
if Dredge is making the top 10.
I love it.
I really do love Dredge, but again, it's another one where I'm concerned that in the room it's not going to make it. I think the idea of
it's brilliant. I really
horror
want that
fishing game with like Resident Evil 4 inventory management.
Haven't they done a crossover now with Dave the Diver as well?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. It's so fucking cool. I wouldn't want to cut it, but I kind of think I think it would really struggle to make a 10 out of everyone here.
I agree.
And I think. But
brilliant.
But
brilliant
Matt, what a great game.
Again, as well, very, very different from anything else this year.
Oh, really different, yeah.
I played a game similar to it a couple of years ago called Moonlight Bay.
Yeah.
And that it didn't go to the dark places, the creepy places that Dredge goes to. But I kind of agree with Lyle. I don't think Dredge is hanging on.
I feel really shit cutting this game, but I do think this might be the quintessential in any other year game. I think Dredge is so cool and weird and different, and I know we love that sort of thing, but it isn't gonna make a 10.
I remember previewing that game and like just playing these early hours and being like, oh, now you need to catch this fish in the dark, and there just being these moments of like, what the fuck is going on?
What just ate my boat? Yeah, I had that.
Yeah.
What a great game.
Yeah.
By Dredge.
Yeah, I don't think not this year. Soz.
Oh, guys, this
Did I say that's 19?
Really,
It's
really
19,
hard.
yeah.
So we've got 9 more cuts.
I got one.
Go on.
Fuck.
If you take out Adam, if you take out
I know what you're going to say.
If you take out the story beats towards the end,
I agree.
it's not top 10, is
No,
it?
it's like a Dragon Gaiden.
Yeah.
It's not. It's it is a B tier game for them. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's a cracking game.
No.
But it's what it does with the story that elevates it. Otherwise it is very it's the shortest one I think they've released that I can recall, and it does repeat an awful lot of content. It also gates the story a little bit behind, like go and level up your what's her name? Akami? No, what's her name? Shit. But you know what I mean. The main character.
Oh, yeah, the
lady in it that runs
Kumi.
yeah, that's it. I really enjoyed it, but
I loved
it isn't. It isn't. It's
like
not,
the combat's not doing anything revolutionary. They're like
no, if anything, it pulls it back a bit, but it does benefit from that as well.
The gadgets are kind of cool, but they're not like.
I kind of only really liked the first one. Like I didn't mind the throwing the cigarette and it explodes, but it's a bit awkward. The drone one I didn't use an awful lot, but the whip thing from your what is it? Is it from your glasses? I can't remember. No, watch.
Your wrist.
Yeah. I do really like this game, but I think it's got no chance, mate. It's an easy cut with 8 still to go after it, but like.
Yeah.
It's had its due, I think, at various points.
Yeah, absolutely, it did.
Okay, I have a question. I haven't played either of these games, and I think we already said there was 3 games where only one could maybe potentially make it. The Last Faith and Cookie Cutter. Which is the one of those 2 that could make it? Because 2 aren't making it, not on this list.
For me, because of the legacy it cribs from The Last Faith.
Okay, so for me it's Cookie Cutter. But purely because aesthetically, I think I just prefer how the hand-drawn visuals and the
and mate,
the
there's nothing in it. There's
no. I'm just saying, for me, if I'm picking one or 2, and again, I'm not convinced either actually end up on this list. But if it's me, I keep.
I don't think either will, and I think if we cut them, we just cut them together. But we can discuss them first.
To be honest, I think like that. I'll just say it. In any other year, one of these might creep a 10, but the position 10. I don't think they do in 2023.
Neither of them.
8 more games. I don't think 8 other games go ahead of. What's that? Yeah, I know.
Chris trying to open his can there, like discreetly, but not only was there an audible noise, his look was like he just squeaked one out.
Splashed it all over the screen.
Yeah.
Chris accounted it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, you were making a serious point. No.
Do you know what I mean, though? That there could be a year where you go, do you know what? Fuck it. We loved it. Cookie Cutter makes 10 in 2022. I'm just throwing a year out there. But I can't see 8 games I'd rather cut ahead of both of them. I just feel like they're both fantastic. And I'd encourage anyone with a modicum of love for Metroidvanias to
play both. They're both quite different, but
both very different feels. Yeah. One's faster than the other.
The Last Faith does have a bit of Souls about it in terms of the character building. The Cookie Cutter is more of a traditional Metroidvania. I think that's my favourite.
It's very quick. And
played some of Last Faith, and I like what was played. But
if you like Last Faith, you will like Cookie Cutter.
Cookie Cutter is definitely more of a modern thing. It's
I think Cookie Cutter's more for me because it's more
flashing.
It's like it's like if Respawn made a Metroidvania. Do you know what I mean in terms of the movement and the it's constantly being on the. It's about juggling, like it's DMC. It's like
it's so fast. It's
you get a move where you can double uppercut them and you can keep people in the air and juggle them.
You can literally knock them up, knock them sideways, and knock them down all in one go.
And it's one of the few games where you get the character in among because it's 2D. So when there's 2 characters when there's 2 enemies together, they sometimes move in tandem. You don't know there's 2 there, and there's bits where you'll have like you and like 10 enemies going on, and like I'm doing stuff and I know what I'm doing and the game knows what I'm doing. I can't see what I'm doing, and then you come out and everything's dead and there's blood everywhere, and you go,
I will also add that it had a moment quite late on in it that made me properly laugh out loud, like relating to balls is all I'll say. It's just a little off-the-cuff remark. It's after a boss fight, one that you don't actually kill, Chris.
Oh yeah,
and has a haircut, and then
yes.
Cherry,
yeah.
Properly made me laugh out loud. Like it's
that humour. I have to say, because it's like it is peppered throughout, but it actually really lands because of
when it lands,
nature of the design of the game. You
sure you want to cut a cookie at her as well?
No. But I also don't know what else goes, and
I don't think you can cut either of these above the other. I don't think. And I don't think either of them is going to survive.
It's hard to imagine.
The end.
Yeah.
Looking at this list, I'm struggling to find cuts like now.
Like there's no more
finding
easy
6 others is going to be hard. Finding 8 others and keeping them 2 on is going to be.
Them. They're gone. They're gone.
But my God, there are not 2 games on this list that I am not more confident that if I'd played, I wouldn't have fucking loved them. You know what I mean?
Like Cookie Cutters. I don't see anyone on this
Cookie
team.
Cutters right up your street for humour as well. I reckon
you'll love it, mate. Yeah. But yes, good.
I have
I don't
really
want to start
spicy
suggesting now, because anything I suggest now is somebody's
I have
favorite.
one, and it's a really fucking spicy one. One where you need to put your sit on your hands and let me say it.
I know what it is.
I've got one, but you go, Adam. You've not covered for a little while.
Do it.
I'm sorry in advance for saying this, and I'm looking at you, Chris White. I know.
Not for you. I was wondering who you're looking at. Like,
He's got it.
Oh yeah, he's got it.
Marvel Spider-Man 2, and I feel I think that's insane. I think it's insane. I'm saying that, but 6 of these games have to go. They have to. It is how a top 10 works, and I'm as surprised as anyone because I fucking loved it, but I didn't love it more than.
You know what though? It doesn't feel as fresh as it did, and I think
that might be what it is. That might be it. It might be recency. It might be that.
Amazing, but the same level of amazing that we had twice. I think. That's how I feel about this game.
They were always going to struggle. Like when that first Spider-Man came out, it blew everyone away. The movement alone was like, this is so good. They were always going to struggle to just keep delivering on that. What I will say is it's amazing they have kept that level.
Because they did, I will say, they did do enough to make it feel not just the exact same game. Like the moves they added in and stuff like that. You did feel like it was its own thing. Like it wasn't just like, I'm literally playing the same game on board. It wasn't that at all. But I do agree, like, it is also the 3rd time I've been around that city swinging about as a Spider-Man, and that is a fact. But it's so good. But then all of these fucking
It is, but the simple question I would have is that we would need at least 2 people on this podcast to find 6 other games to cut ahead of it. And it just...
I think you're right.
It hurts because they are such.
I reckon the next 5 are all going to hurt different people.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
It's not going to be any. We go, we all don't want that one on there. Like,
I think we got to painfully get to the 10, and then we're just going to be thankful that we've got anything we love in the 10. To break it.
I think so.
I feel like everyone bar Chris White is accepting of Spider-Man 2 as my suggested cut, but I do want
I accept the decision. You'll be pleased.
No, I'm not making the decision. I'm asking.
Look, oh man, this just speaks to how good a year it's been, doesn't it? Really,
it does.
A game like this is not an automatic lock.
Year, I think.
No, because it's 100% in my top 5.
Oh,
but
boy.
I loved.
It's in my back 5.
That obviously it does feel similar, but it does do a lot different. But then it's the same as Jedi Survivor for me. It's the game. I just kept playing. I kept playing and kept playing. Did everything because
that's the reason I suggested it as a cut. Is the other 2 I did do that. This one I was just like, I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I've got time to do this when I want to do that.
I've platinumed the last 2, and I
that's what I mean.
Back to this one
but it's not my list. That's just why I'm suggesting it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
and I do.
And let's be clear, that is a high bar to say. You know, it's not slating the game to go, I didn't play
everything you could do in it.
Benchmarks we're talking about.
Oh, just do it. Yeah. Just do it.
That's the first one off my top 10.
Is everyone else agree? Well,
I agree. Yeah, it's not. It's not high up for me personally. But
if it's not high up for everyone other than me, then there's no point. And that's not me being a dick.
No. We have to cut 6.
We're all gonna lose games we fucking love. Like,
rip it, do it. And then look, let's talk about Lies of P. Yeah,
we're getting to that point, aren't we?
Look, there's games on here that I really, really want to survive, and I know there's games that you guys do. And as much as I'd love to see Lies of P in a top 10, and I do think maybe if more people had played it, we might be talking about it differently. But they didn't. Like, it's a game that I went start to finish on. I did it for review. I fell in love with it. I didn't like the demo, funnily enough. Really wasn't impressed with the demo.
No, but a lot of people didn't. They listened, and it was a
they
rare.
did listen.
They listened about the locomotion,
and they did tweak it, and they still. And this is so we haven't really spoke about Laws of the Fallen much, obviously, through this because we talked about it in multiplayer, but not obviously it had its issues. But Laws of the Fallen did it backwards. So the thing with Lords of the Fallen was a lot of the bosses were too easy, and the game between the bosses was too hard, and that threw the balance off. Like what Lies of P did really, really well was it had the hardest bosses. And look, people are going to come in the comments if they want to and say that I need to get good, whatever. But Lies of P had some of the hardest bosses I've ever fought in this genre of game, like ever. Like some of them just were fucking insane. But the balance in between those boss fights was just fucking impeccable. Like the exploration in that game from boss to boss, absolutely just on point for me. Like, and not easy. I'm not saying it was a walk in the park. I died so many times, but they did it. They managed to balance the lesser enemies to a point where I wasn't worried about exploring. I wanted to explore, and God, it was a beautiful game world as well. It had its secrets. It had the puzzles that you could, like the guy ringing on the phone with the riddles and things that you had to solve, and it rewarded you with really cool stuff like outfits. Like, they were a reward. And I know that to some people they're not a big deal, but people who play these games, the fashion thing is a thing. And like, to have those locked behind rewards that you could earn in the game by doing the hard stuff felt like something that games don't do anymore. Like, a lot of the time they just let you buy them, or they just throw them at you because they want you to share them on social media and stuff. That what Lies of P did was made you go and earn those rewards, earn those extra things. If you wanted to maximize P's skills and abilities, you had to go and explore. You had to throw yourself back into the danger, and I think that really felt. And like we said before, this is the closest thing we've had to a Bloodborne 2 in terms of, and it's not exactly like Bloodborne, right? They cribbed a lot from Bloodborne, specifically though the atmosphere. The atmosphere for me was just bang on. That European Gothic sort of dark atmosphere, just nailed it. And I would love it if this was to stick around, but I get in the year like this why it wouldn't. But it deserved it deserves all the plaudits. I mean, I gave it a 10, and I'd give it a 10 again.
Damn it!
It's not one. It's not one.
All the 10.
Yeah, it's not something I'm in two minds about. There have been scores I've given this year that I wish I hadn't, or I wish I'd gone higher. But this specific game absolutely nailed it for me. It's in my top 3.
There's quite a few 10s on this. I'm just going down and going, yep.
Oh, this is the powerful list now.
Yeah.
Are we cutting Lies of P?
I think.
Look, let me put it this way: there's at least 5 games on here that I want more than I want Lies of P in the final 10. Well, and I would.
Look, so okay, yeah, no, you're right. So it's cut. Let's go back to Star Wars Jedi Survivor now, then, because that was suggested as a cut before. And so I'm only going back to it because it's like, maybe that will be an easy one because we were thinking about it before, and there's still 5, I think.
How many more have we got to cut?
I think 5.
Oh, God.
This is a list of 14, so 4, yeah.
4.
It's difficult because I don't want to be Debbie Downer on this, but I don't think the combat is very good. I think the exploration and movement.
What I played, I felt the same.
I think the movement's amazing, and especially when you get later in the game and you have all the traversal stuff, I think that's so cool.
I love the combat.
But no, I really don't like the combat.
It's a really we've spoken about this at length. Yeah. Like it seems like it seems like the combat's gelled with like 3 of us and not 2 of us, and that's a fact. Can't ignore that.
No, but to be clear, I feel like if they made it a not Souls game and just made it like a DMC or a blah blah blah, I don't think I'd have quite as many issues with it. I just don't think the way they have designed this game to be kind of a jack of all trades, it ends up being a bit of a master of none. And by that, I like some elements of it a lot. But I feel like if they tightened the experience and sort of went for one, maybe it's an action game with Metroidvania elements, or maybe it's a Souls game with this, but like trying to be everything, I felt it didn't end up succeeding everywhere. And I felt the combat, especially when they start throwing ranged enemies at you, or as you get later in the game when they throw like lots of I don't want to call it wave based because it's not quite wave, but you know what I mean, when they throw like a lot at you. I don't think the combat is tight enough to sustain what they're asking of you. It's messy, is what I guess is the word I'm looking for.
As well.
Huh?
I love this little pocket of Star Wars as well. I love because I'm not going to talk again about what I feel about Star Wars.
Do you remember the Star Wars? Oh God, what were they called? There was 2 of them. Say again.
Force Unleashed.
Was that the one where the second one you start and Darth Vader's in it really early on?
Yeah, Force Unleashed were brilliant.
Why couldn't this have been just one of those? Why does it have to have I know it shouldn't. And I know
Force
it's on
Unleashed
me.
1 holds up now, I tell you.
It does, but I know it's a stupid thing, but I really hate that in this game you sit at a bonfire and respawns the enemies. It feels so stupid to me in a Star Wars game, and I know it's on me.
It doesn't really have much. Doesn't make much sense in context either. It doesn't.
It's because this isn't a new. Like we talked about the argument of it's a game, dummy. But like this is also a universe we all know about. It existed before the game, so like to do it in something that has such rich, deep lore already feels so silly to me. And it feels like at no point did anybody just say that. Like, why are you doing it? It doesn't need to happen. Make it if this was a third-person game. Like a God of War, no, that's not even an example, but like a progression, like a Last of Us, where you're moving through it and you don't have to. I appreciate other people love it. I just do. I think the combat's messy. Where
I think they added those things as well to distance it from the Force Unleashed a little bit because they're very similar in a lot of ways.
Force Unleashed were great. That was Star Wars was in its pomp. Then I remember that's when you got Soul Calibur characters. Do you remember on Xbox and PS3 you had like one had Vader, and one had Yoda? It was really in its pomp then, and it's never not been in its pomp, I guess. But like I do like. It's not me saying I hate it by criticising it. I just don't quite think it's a top 10 game.
Chris suggested a cut on this one. I think if the Chris's aren't fighting to keep this on a list, this is the one that I would fight.
My top 10.
It is in my top 10.
Get to that.
But
I don't think I can.
Because there's someone here that I'm dreading even discussing.
I think the thing for me is that, and we may talk about this in other games as well on this list, I think where there are games where there's games where they're just, we haven't played it so we don't know, and then there are games where we've played it and we actively haven't enjoyed elements of it. Yeah. And I think if there are people in this group, and it's a group list, that actively dislike certain elements of games, I don't think they can justify a top 10, no matter how much the rest of us like.
It feels really shit to be cut in a game you guys love.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, no, you're right. I should be like, yeah, absolutely, cut it now, but I don't. I feel bad. About it.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's... Because there's going to be lots of games on this list, we all just go, we all love them, then it's just about how much we all love them to rank them. And I feel like if there's a game where we're like, a couple of people are like ambivalent and negative, then we should probably say it. And I'd say that as someone that's in my top 10.
I really don't like the combat in this game. I really bounced off it, and I'll be honest.
I'm not happy, but I think there is going to be a point here where we say if it's a team thing and it's a case
whatever
of people
we're
are
cutting now as well
is
inside a top 20. I mean, you've got to think of it that way in some respects.
Well, the way I would say it is that every game we cut is 11.
Yeah.
Because we're not ranking
and at
them.
this point, and realistically as well,
Lyles,
this is
which were like 32.
Yeah,
Sorry,
of course,
yes.
Obviously. But we're also at the point now where it's like this. Like I know we've joked about in any other year, but right now we're at the point where seriously, literally in any other year, every single one of these games I feel like would make a top 10. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's been wild, but like looking through this list and trying to figure out what's getting cut next, like. It's so fucking hard.
There is one to me.
Yeah, same one. But if we're cutting Star Wars, I've got one I would go after that I would, and I love that game. But we need to first of all.
Yeah, I think we have to cut Star Wars, and then there's one I would challenge next, which will not make me friends. But
fingers hovering over the delete button unless I hear otherwise.
Yeah, do it with the band-aid off.
Okay.
I think Chris and I are talking about the same game, but I'm going to let him do it because I want to be. I want to be the popular one, so Chris can cut it.
Bayonetta Origins.
Yep.
Yeah.
Against these games, it's lovely. The storybook aesthetic, the voice acting,
but admittedly, I think for me, this is the highest. I think I've got it higher on my list than anyone else. Like, I'm almost certain. I played this at a point in my life where I really needed a lot of positivity, and it brought that in spades. It helped me through.
Played it when you were away, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and it literally in a time that was like as stressful as it gets. This was exactly the game I needed. Like, it helped. It was positive, charming, like engaging. Like, it was this game that I just fucking loved, and like it's still really high up on my list because of that. But like I'm the one who would be championing it higher than anyone else. I think Heidi and Adam both.
Well, I have a question. If, let's just say hypothetically, Bayonetta Origins and Dave the Diver were fighting it out for number 10 to you.
Yeah.
What would it be?
It'd be Bayonetta Origins for me.
Now, I only ask that because I haven't still finished Dave the Diver. And Chris, I don't think liked it much.
Me?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm concerned that Yeah. Was it you? Sorry, Heidi.
No, sorry. I think we're thinking we're interrupting each other and we're not.
I sort of want to cut that, but sort of don't. It was beautiful. It was so nice to see you two be nice to each other. Lyle was going to say something about Dave the Diver. I know that much.
Yeah, Dave the Diver for me is below Bayonetta Origins, but realistically, I kind of think neither of them are going to make it. But I mean, oh god!
The only thing with that is I think Mick Fraser really likes Dave the Diver.
Yeah, Mick's
does. Yeah,
we've got 3 to cut, right?
Yeah,
one of them could sneak in.
One of them might, maybe. It'd be close.
I don't want to know what the cuts are if it does.
Yeah, no, I must admit, I'm going up and down the list going, well, one of them must be a cut, but then none of them seem to be a cut. So it's like.
Yeah,
I'm also trying to work out is I feel like all of these are on my list, but that can't be the case because it's 13 games. So what have I not got on my list?
Right, Shadow Gambit.
We will have to. Do you know what? Why don't we just? I was going to say, let's say we'll have a break, but he's just come back, so we don't need to have a break. This is going to be great.
Talking about all your games, Mick.
Yeah,
oh, right, no, I bet.
We were talking, like Lyle was saying, if Bayonetta stayed, he would probably have it above Dave the Diver, but you did like Dave the Diver.
I haven't played Bayonetta, and Dave the Diver is on my 10.
It's not on mine anymore. It was for a while.
And it is on mine still as well. Like, I'm not saying
no,
and I'm not saying this is the vote between these two necessarily.
No, that's what we're getting at, though.
I couldn't vote for Bayonetta against any because I think that might be the only one on this list that I haven't played.
Well, what I'm looking at, right, genuinely, this is the way my thinking is, right, is I'm going down this list, and I'll read them just as a reminder for the listener. Resident Evil Remake, we gave a 10. Octopath Traveler 2, I can't remember,
10.
but I think it was a 10.
It was a 10.
Bayonetta Origins, I reviewed, and it wasn't a 10. I think it was a 9. Legend of Zelda was a 10. Street Fighter 6 was a 10. Gambit was a 10.
10.
Final Fantasy 16 was a 10. Sea of Stars was a 10. Dave the Diver was a 9, I want to say. Remnant 2 was a 9.5, if I recall, but let's not be silly.
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder was a 10. Baldur's Gate 3, I can't remember. And Alan Wake 2 was a very high score as well. So,
Alan Wake 2 was a 9.
9.5 or 9, yeah.
There's no low scores left.
No, but Dave the Diver's the lowest scoring, and Bayonetta Origins.
Here's the thing: looking at this list, Dave the Diver would be the next one, apart from Bayonetta for me, and only Bayonetta because I haven't played it. Street Fighter 6 ain't going anywhere yet.
So, because the thing is, for me, the reason because I've played Bayonetta, right? My understanding is
you weren't
it's
as
only
up
on
it as
Adam,
though, right? Yeah.
I know it's yours, Lyle, and it sounds like it's quite high up, so maybe that's not a good enough argument. But I do think like there's a lot of a lot of us have played a lot of the rest of the games, and I do think like a lot of them are going to be on multiple people's lists, and I do wonder if a game that's only on one person's top 10 at this point in proceedings makes it to the group top 10.
Agreed. I totally get that. It's tough. Like, we've got 3 cuts here, and like I kind of think I know which 3 they are, but it's
I think
like...
I know what. Yeah, I do too.
So do I, and I think Bayonetta and Dave are cuts, aren't they?
They're in the 3 that I think will be cut.
Yeah, same. I don't want either of them cut, but I think both of them.
I don't want the other one to be cut.
I promise you that nobody wants the third one cut as little as me, because I think the third cut is Street Fighter 6, and I feel sick.
Oh. I thought Shadow Gambit might have been. I don't think that's a cut.
Have you guys discussed Shadow Gambit?
No, we were going to.
No, we started to, and then you selfishly returned.
I don't think Shadow Gambit's a cut for so many reasons.
There's a lot of reasons why I would fight for that one.
Can
I ask a stupid question? No, because I don't even agree with it. It wouldn't make any sense because they're both on my top 10. I was going to say, would anyone accept a list that had Street Fighter 6 and not Final Fantasy 16? I wouldn't accept that list. So why am I even asking that question?
Yeah, that is an interesting question.
I got to look at my list now because I don't know how. I reckon I've got fucked up.
You've got 11 on your list.
15 secretly.
I'm just checking what's not on mine. Oh, that's not on mine. Yeah, oh god, that's where it's going to get fucking tasty.
This doesn't make any sense. What? Okay, Bayonetta's not on mine. Dave's not on mine. I can't. I'm too stressed. I can't work out the other one that isn't on my list. I can't work it out. Oh no, I do know.
I have
but
6
it's definitely...
games on this list that are still in my top 10.
Are we cutting Bayonetta?
Oh yeah, that. Sorry, I was like, what's the other one?
Are we cutting Bayonetta?
Honestly, I think we have to.
I think we have to. Yeah,
I know. I get the passion for it, and I love it.
No, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah,
I think of it again. It never exists.
I genuinely, I hate to say it, but I think Dave the Diver is a cut based on what's left, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's fantastic. In so many ways, it's fantastic. Like I've not been surprised by a game as much as that game. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe one other surprised me a lot, but that particular game surprised me repeatedly in lovely, wonderful ways every time. Because it just, to the point where I was like, you can stop now, guys, add in mechanics. Like, just stop. Mm-hmm. And I'm happy. I've got enough here to get on with. And I just can't see it winning out over any other. If you put it against any other game on this list, for me, I don't think I would pick it.
Yeah.
And although I think every game I would pick it over is a game that loads of people fucking love. You know what I mean? Like, it is. Yeah.
I think. And you guys can disagree. It's fine, but I think that's the next one.
No, I think you're right.
Chris White, did you play it? Did you play it? Oh, fuck.
You'd love it as well, mate.
Everyone would love it. No one doesn't like it. Most of us.
Fantastic.
No, listen. I don't. It's not like I don't like it. I haven't been back to it since Sharkgate.
Right. Okay.
That's the issue for me. I'm sure if I'd actually
if he hadn't played it at all, he'd be voting it in. You're not keeping up with how it works.
Lyle, did you cry playing Dave the Diver?
Yes, multiple times.
All the time.
Oh, ugly tears.
I'm deleting it. But that's not even good enough. That's still 11. I'll read them. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Octopath Traveler 2, Tears of the Kingdom, Street Fighter 6, Shadow Gambit, Final Fantasy 16, Sea of Stars, Remnant 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2. They are the 11 that must lose one game off that list, and we are...
Well, three of these games aren't on my top 10. 2 of them, I ain't getting moved off this list. The other one, you'll hate, Adam. So
go on, just say it.
You said it earlier.
Street Fighter 6, yeah, I know. I've known for months.
It's so cool, though.
I've known for months
because
it's a group list.
I cannot. It's the only one I've not played.
But I've known this was not going to make our top 10 for months, and purely because we are not as a team, massive fighting game fans. Like some of us love them.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And I had a feeling it would come down to it might squeak in, but I didn't think it would. But I do have to say that on this list, I'm not going to be able to convince. It is a redemption story for Capcom in the series. It is. It's a redemption story. It's a correction of every mistake they made. And it plays wonderfully, looks wonderful. Everything. It's nothing about it I don't like. Nothing about it I don't like. It's like I knew when we previewed it the first time, this will be a 10 out of 10. Like it was that clear from the very first time we played it. Then we played it again, another preview, and it's like, that just reinforces it because you've added Yakuza to it somehow. But I have made Chris White. I think is more upset than me because I'd made peace with this months ago. I have to admit, I knew.
Do you know what? I've just looked at my list, and oddly enough, it sits at 11.
It's literally 11 on mine as well.
It's literally 11, yeah. So, and I haven't played Shadow Gambit, but I know, I would love it.
Guess it.
It's literally for me, it's the game that I put at 11 that I didn't ever move it into honorable mentions because I was like, just in case, like I feel differently about it. Like It's the only one.
And it's fucking amazing as well.
But as I say, I'm not as gutted as perhaps people might think. Oh, but you've championed that. Oh yeah, I knew this was coming. I knew it was, and that's fine because, like, Jesus Christ, there's games cut here people love already, so it's fine.
In any other year.
So I'm going to cut it, and we have a 10 that we need to arrange. And then it's about to go.
Normally, I think it's right to cut right.
Interesting, shall we say?
Yeah, I was going to say, normally when we get it down to like the list, it gets kind of easy, and here I'm like, this is about to get.
It's like what's 10?
Can I suggest what might be 10?
You can.
Shadow Gambit.
Yeah, let's see how that goes
might
down.
be 10. I don't know if Chris and Lyle played Shadow Gambit.
No, I didn't.
I
wanted to.
It's a game that means more for the sentimental side. Not more, but that's an element of it.
It's an addition.
I can't pretend that a lot of me is not going, I want this game to get a nod because it kills me. A studio making that kind of level of game couldn't sustain itself. I do want it to get a nod for that. I do. I can't pretend that's not the truth.
They're the only ones really that do this.
And they do it so well. It's not just like default. They're the only ones that bother.
No.
The execution of it, no pun intended, it's brilliant. Like, it is so good. That game.
It's kind of cool as well. Not just the gameplay, the actual kind of whole
Yeah,
piratey thing.
The whole
It's
thing,
cool.
because it literally takes what was really quite serious.
Well,
if you
who
can
thought you
imagine
could
the
do
Wild West being
Undead
serious,
Pirates anymore?
and Desperados, and just going, fuck it, Undead Pirates. Let's
I
have a laugh with it.
In a post-Pirates of the Caribbean world, they went, let's do Undead Pirates.
But I also love how you forget about this until you you're playing the game as normal, and then you zoom in a bit because you want to get some bit more detail, and then you go, I forgot my main character's just walking around with a knife through their chest the whole time. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that.
I'll tell you what else as well, this game, the level of design in this game is absolutely, in my opinion, for stealth strategy games or tactics games, it's peerless. Like there's now with the DLC, there's 11 characters, right? 11 characters with unique skills and abilities that you can take any combination of the three into any mission. And if you're clever enough, you can make it work.
And this is insane.
And not because they've balanced it and gone, oh, this is easy, but because it's so
it's not because they're all clones either. Like, this is the thing. Like, it's when
must have been a headache making this, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, when they did Desperados 3, that was really clever because they literally designed levels to work for the characters' powers. Yeah. And they just did that in a tutorial in this game for the character tutorials, and then went, fuck it, here's how good we are at designing stuff. And the multiple like routes and stuff, all the fucking treasures and secrets and shit that are in this game.
Do you know what it reminds me of? And I'm going to come across as a fanboy. It's kind of Nintendo levels of polish in the mechanical aspects.
It is.
Modern era Nintendo. It's that kind of how did they bloody do this? It's the Mario Wonder, the Mario Odyssey, where you're like,
it's consideration.
What? Yes,
the consideration and the thought of like how it can work. I remember we had conversations about, you were like, how the fuck did you do this level?
Yeah.
And like, I was like, well, I did it with him, her, and them, and you were just like, well, I've got 3 completely different characters. So I was like, well, you're on your own then, because they're all completely different, and you have to.
But
think
it's the fact that you can randomize it as well. You can just go random characters.
Yeah.
And some missions there's one you have to take for story. Like quite often you have to take Afia, but not always.
No.
And like you can just go random 3 characters. Let's have at it.
Yeah.
And like the secret character there, I don't know how much we can spoil, but we've got this far. The secret character that you unlock, I can't remember how you pronounce his name, Vitiglio, the guy who shows up all the way through the game and he joins you. Did you unlock him and play with him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because his power copies the other character's powers. That's what he can do. He's the closest thing to a cheat sheet in that game that you can take someone
like thing, isn't it? Almost
that you can double up on the powers if you want to. But I think like they just put so much into it, and the announcement that studio had not managed to break even with that game and was not going to stay open, and not just that game, but Desperados 3, Shadow Tactics, Blades of the Shogun. It's just it speaks, and it's not the place for it, but it speaks to the industry.
Yeah, it's a bad sign.
That kind of game with that level of polish and creativity and heart that went into it can't sustain a studio. That is just mind-boggling to me.
I do think though, Lyle and Chris didn't play it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't finish it. You guys love it. I think 10 is.
I think 10 feels
10
right.
is fine. I think it earns its place at 10 though.
And I'm glad it made it.
Absolutely.
And it's a game I really would love to play, and I'd love to love, and I'm not sure I will because it sounds too complex.
Bear in mind as well, it's a 40-hour game at least.
What game is it?
I mean, it's
what genre is it?
It's stealth tactics. Did you play Shadow Tactics?
Yeah, I reviewed Shadow Tactics.
Yeah, it's that. It's
like the
that
pinnacle
with
of
Undead
that.
Pirates.
With Undead Pirates, mate.
Yeah,
Okay.
and comedy
But
and
Sounds so cool.
But to a level way above.
yeah, it's the pinnacle.
What
It's the
that
pinnacle.
was.
That's what really kills me about we won't keep on about it because we're here to be positive about the industry. But like, what really kills me of it is that they didn't go out on a whimper. They went out on the pinnacle of what they made, and it kills me.
proved
Then they
that
came
they
back
had
and they
best.
went, you know what? We're still going to put out the DLC. Well,
Yeah.
well
Great
valued
DLC.
member of the
Actually, it's
10.
got a character from Shadow Tactics in it, the DLC.
So, I have a suggestion for number 9. I don't know how this is going to go down. It could be one of those where it's like a lead balloon, or it could be one where people go, actually, yeah. I think on this list, number 9 should be Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Oh God.
I'm just going to say I do not disagree. Over to you guys.
I'm just looking at the other games on the list and knowing the passion. Like, we've mentioned these obviously through the week. So again, if you haven't been listening, go listen to day 1 through 4, and you'll hear plenty of talk about Resident Evil 4, Octopath, Legends of Zelda, blah blah blah. I just don't think it's going to get much higher than whenever I look down at the list, I'm like, someone's going to say, no, that goes above it. That goes. I just don't.
For
I
me,
could see
Resident
7 top 5
Evil 4
games.
That's an issue right there. Yeah, I don't know. For me, Resident Evil 4 Remake is like almost as high as it gets, not to spoil my own list.
Really?
So, yes, it's hugely high. It is easily one of my favorites of the year. I just don't remember a game that I was just like, that I enjoyed the whole way through to that level of anything this year.
Let me suggest a different game for number 9 then, and see if this.
Okay, I'll be just as upset.
Absolutely
just so
might
you know.
be. But what if number 9 was actually then, in this case, Final Fantasy 16?
I'm happier with that personally.
Happy or happier?
Happier.
Okay.
Still, actually, fairly happy.
Okay.
Like for me, it's lower down in the 10.
Same. That's
my
yeah.
So I really like it. I think it's great.
Listen,
but
we've got 10 of the best games of 2023 here right now.
I don't think it made my 10, Final Fantasy 16.
I personally would was happier with Resi 4 Remake at 9 than Final Fantasy 16.
Where would you put Final Fantasy 16, Chris? Just where out of?
Let me have a look at where I've put it.
Is that the exact number, Chris?
Yeah. Well, it's hard because
there's no point looking at your list. It's where would you put it on this list?
Where would I put it on this list? Sorry.
Yeah.
Knowing the group, those are probably 8 and 9. If I'm looking at that.
Could we not vote
given
8
again,
and 9?
again, I come back to the. I know Adam had issues with certain aspects of it.
Big issues as well. It wasn't just a,
Hey, listen, just for the record, it is in my top 10. So for everything I've said,
okay,
gameplay saves it, is what you're saying, basically.
Listen, mate. When all is said and done, we're all pretty much old enough that we grew up playing games on like a Spectrum or an Amiga or an Amstrad or something like that, or even a NES, right? When you see something,
PlayStation 3 for
Nintendo, sorry,
and that's fine.
128K, yeah,
C64 or something, but when you see some of the moments in Final Fantasy 16.
Oh god!
I mean,
yeah,
I'm not. Yeah. I'm sorry. I might like to think that I'm like, well, I play my games for the thinking or the puzzles but like you. I'm sorry if you're of a certain generation and you see that on a screen. That's the sort of thing. My old man, bless him, he's long gone, but he would look past and be like, "That's a game." Wow.
Yeah.
That's the shit you would only see in movies. Like it is beyond anything anyone's ever seen in a video game.
My list now because I can't remember.
And it would blow minds in movies.
Oh, it would
realistically.
I still right now do not understand how they got the money to make what they did in that game. Like I just don't get it. Like I know it will have sold loads because it's in name alone, but I still can't believe that someone wasn't pulling purse strings and going like, "No, you're having a laugh." How long?
Oh, it's still on my list. Sorry.
I'm going to throw out another name that might upset people, but I'm the Grinch this episode. I'm Grinching it. We're talking about what's like the lowest on this list, and I think that 2 other people would probably agree with me about where Baldur's Gate 3 would sit on this list.
I'm not sure
Chris I think Baldur's Gate is a top 5 game.
This is on my list.
This is the thing. This is
on my...
I can't deny.
Chris has just downed his drink, man.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, Chris, if you get drunk, they just give you games. That's what I found.
Keep drinking, Chris.
They just give
this
you
is
shit.
This is in my top 5 Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate.
I just can't. And this is going to be where the interesting conversations start getting tasty because it's not in my top 10. And I'm not saying therefore it doesn't make a top 5 in our list because I've heard the conversations of the last 5 days.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to have to kind of step back.
What I will say is I think a lot of the reason it isn't in your top 10 is not because it is a good or bad game. It's because you simply haven't experienced... Like, do you remember on the podcast a few weeks ago when I talked... months at this time. When I talked about like the throwing the shit and how it affected the battle and the stuff like that. Like, you just simply didn't experience that stuff. And for me, while I haven't finished it, the reason it's worthy of a list is, 1, everything Chris White said about his experience of it. And 2... I can't genuinely think of a game that is as malleable mechanically as Baldur's Gate 3. Like those, and that's just one. By the way, that's just one thing that happened when I was playing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm the only angle I'm coming at it from is we have cut some other games where they're only on a few people's list, but that's all I can say. I can't talk to it in the same way that I haven't been able to talk about it all week. So I'm not suggesting it is 9. I think 8 and 9. Having read the room from the last 5 days, are in fact... God, what games are we talking about?
Before we were mentioning Resi and
Final Fantasy 16. Yes. Personally, I think they're 8 and 9. Given the passion, where we go from 7 onwards, fuck knows. But I don't.
Let's not worry about 7 at the moment.
Yeah. I
see. One of the reasons I brought up Baldur's Gate, which I want to say, and I think Baldur's Gate is brilliant. Like I was fighting for Astarion as best character and moments from Baldur's Gate and all these sorts of things. But for me, the reason it doesn't make my list is I think that it requires a lot of the player in the early game. Like I remember spending 20 minutes trying to figure out how to equip a torch to a character and not being able to do it. I literally spent 20 minutes going, what if I put it in their hand? No, it's not working. What if I do this? And like I have to put it on their quick menu maybe. Let me try and figure there are aspects of that game in a year like this where I was like, this annoyed me enough, and this was difficult enough for me. Like,
I
player.
don't disagree with
similar,
that,
didn't you? Yeah.
But
yeah,
go on. Sorry, Lyle.
It's just that this, like, and I totally understand that the parts of it that are amazing, but it's because the year has been this good for me. I was like, I can't put this in a top 10 because I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out how to do something, and the game wouldn't fucking help me. And I knew that Chris Hyde, trying to play, was getting fucking battered in the first 20 minutes because the game didn't help him figure out how to
got out the
play.
sphincters, I got battered.
Yeah, and like I just think
I mean, I will say, right, it is true, right? Because I still don't think the game's told me how to rest properly. I figured it out for myself because I saw it in the menus. I didn't realize I only had.
It does tell you that, though.
It does tell you that. It definitely does. But I also think there's so much information thrown at you. I wouldn't be angry that Chris missed that, and I wouldn't blame him.
No,
because there is a lot of information thrown at you very quickly, very early. More than I think most people can take in. I think like that Chris White and Mick will have taken it in because they kind of already knew it. In a sort of divinity way.
There is a nature of some of these types of games that I've fallen in love with, where you figure stuff out in the first 10 hours, and then it just becomes second nature.
Everything you've said, I agree with, but I forgave it once I just
exactly.
I can't think of as many years as I've played games, something that has surprised me with it. Like, stories will twist and stuff like that will happen, but in terms of gameplay, in terms of mechanical aspects of what make a video game work from the beginning to the end, it's very rare there's actually as much wiggle room as you think. You're given wiggle room. You think it's false. You sort of, it's giving up your. It's like when you suspend your disbelief. You think there's 10,000 ways of doing something, but there really isn't. It's just you're led to feel that way. What truly won me over with Baldur's Gate 3 was that moment where it was like no one would do that. It's like you get those buzzword sentences like there's. What was the one with Baldur's Gate? There's X amount of thousands of audio lines recorded, and it stinks of that. You know that thing in the Skyrim thing? You see that in the distance, you can get there. And now Skyrim, people have got to that where they're like, yeah, and the eyes roll. But what Baldur's Gate 3 actually does is it does deliver on all of those things for real. For fucking real. Like, it doesn't just... there's no set dressing. This is the most lived-in, breathed-in, believable world I can recall. Certainly, I mean, there are other games and other genres, but for this genre where you are spending time, lots of time in an area... clearing an area out, the amount of pots, it's properly believable, and it's definitely a top 5 game I think on the GodisaGeek list. It's a top 10 game easily, but like I just can't get over the malleability. That's not a word, is it? Malleability? I don't know. I can't get over how much you can't outsmart this game. You can't outsmart this game. You think you can, you can't. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the passion means it's definitely not number 9. So, I mean, the two that we were...
Well, you're arguing for number 9. Jesus Christ, sorry, I should have helped me powder a bit there, sorry. It's tough.
I do think that number 9 is either Final Fantasy 16 or Resident Evil. I think it's Final Fantasy 16, and we've not heard the guys that have the passion for it to argue it, and I'm sure Chris White will have things to say. But... I don't think Baldur's Gate is definitely not number 9. Resi or Final Fantasy 16 feel better for me at number 9, but I don't share the love that you guys do for those two games.
If I'm honest, like I would prefer Resi 4 at 9 and Final Fantasy 16 at 8. But let's be honest. We're discussing 8 and 9. It's not the hills I want to die on, to be perfectly honest, in terms of 8 and 9. If you say to me, do you know what? The issues of Final Fantasy 16 put it at 9 and Resi goes at 8. I'm like, fine. Like I said before, now what the fuck 7? And I think that's where
I think Resi's 8 and I think Final Fantasy's 9.
Like I
say,
it
sounds like that's where the room is.
I can't really
Chris
give...
is being real quiet, Mr. White. What do you think? You got to say it, man.
He's pouring a drink, mate. He's all right.
He's still in shock. Still in shock.
So is Mr. Kevin the Carrot behind you.
But
he's had a hell of a week, let's face it.
Time. Yeah.
He's quite happy.
The things that Carrot's done to Pikachu.
I'm the same as Chris, but they're both interchangeable at this point. Doesn't matter to me.
But
really.
are we all then agreeing they are 8 and 9, or are we not?
I think
I know, Lyle, you wanted Resi higher, but like,
I mean, I do, but if everyone else is agreeing 8 and 9, then if it's the higher of the 8 and 9, then I'll fucking take it. Like, sure.
Let me put them there then, and see. Like, Chris White, you tell me how you feeling when you see these there.
See how it feels.
I've lost. Oh, it's at the top.
It's at the top.
Right. Okay.
It's at the top.
So let's.
It fucking deserves to be, guys.
Get that out.
Chris White, how are you feeling about these? Then, how are you feeling about these?
I don't think Octopus should be number 1.
Oh no, sorry, just
I'm joking.
I'm joking.
I'm joking.
Don't do that.
I think that's. I genuinely don't mind that because
I'm not locking it. I'm locking it. I'm just bolding it so we can see.
Because I'm like as you're talking, I'm thinking no, Final Fantasy should be 8. But then I'm thinking of the time in Resident Evil 4 where it's just amazing. And I think for ease of play, you can literally jump in and out of that. I think Resident Evil there's not, you don't have to commit hours to kind of get somewhere. And I know you can play Final Fantasy like that, but there's a lot going on. And like as a game, I prefer Final Fantasy, but like just to jump in and play and enjoyment and not having to manage everything. You know, all you got to do is manage your inventory. With Final Fantasy, you've got to, there's a lot more to it. I think story-wise, I love Final Fantasy more, but again, Resi 4 is a better gameplay, better game. I don't know. I'm never going to decide, but I think that's fine.
No one's ever going to turn around and say, "Oh, but it made 8 versus 9 on your list, so one's fucking great and one's shit." Like that's
Exactly.
It's not the differentiator that it needs to be. I think it's probably the right order for the group, and I think we need to get onto the serious conversation of the top 7. If I'm on, I agree with everything you just said.
When
Chris.
did the top 7 become the serious conversation?
I don't. Well, okay.
It's serious, guys.
Seriouser than 8 and 9.
We got to lock the next.
Am I leaving these bold? Am I leaving these bold?
Yes.
For me, yeah.
Go for it. I think it's right up for this.
Does anyone have a number 7 in their head? Because I do, but I did the last one, and I don't want to be the one everyone hates.
I do, but it ain't going to be the right one. So
I do as well. But
I suggested one, and it went fucking bad.
yeah.
Fair. Lyle's got big gun shy now, so. Well, go on. Look, Chris, you do it then. Chris Hyde, go on. What's your number 7 now? Well, not yours, but what do you think 7 is on this list?
So they're very two different questions.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because I'm quite sure I know what 7 is, and after that I'm up, but I haven't fucking got a clue. Or if Mick's ready, Mick, you tell us what you think your number 7 is.
Oh, God. What the fuck is number 7?
I think I know, and I don't think it'll be popular, but I think once I explain why, I think everyone will agree.
Should I just say what I think it is?
Yeah, if you've got it, say it.
I think it's the game that's there.
Oh, I disagree.
No,
this is why I wasn't going to say it.
No, sorry.
No,
That's not what
I don't agree with that.
Do you have one, Mick, for 7?
Yeah, but you're not going to like it. You're going to yell at me. Because
I just offered up mine, and everyone went, "No, that's fucking
there's
bullshit."
2 that I would suggest.
Well, it can't both be
7.
7. So what's 7? What 1?
Sea of Stars.
Okay, so what's the other one then?
Zelda.
Fucking hell, man. So we've all said different ones for 7, and my one's a different one as well.
Because and I'll tell you
can I guess what your one is?
Yeah.
Is your one Wonder?
No.
Oh fuck! I don't know anymore.
Hell, it
I
better
do
not
not
be.
know what this is. What I mean.
This
I
is
think
so
Adams is Octopath.
Nope.
Unless you're putting Boulders at 7.
Nope.
Or Remnant 2.
Yep.
Oh,
But
God.
I really have a problem with Remnant 2 being at 7.
Yeah, I've got 2 below Remnant 2 personally.
I love Remnant 2. It's the only game on that list now that it's the lowest scoring game on the list left. Not that really matters because it's a group list.
Not really.
And I do love it. I love it, but I love all of these games, so I can't. But like, I'm desperate, and all I can.
On the list, it's the game that's left on the list that I want the highest, if that makes sense. Like you guys are going to wax lyrical on Sea of Stars and Octopath and Legend of Zelda, and for good reason, and Mario as well, and for good reason. But we keep saying it's a group list. Those 4 games in particular, as fantastic as they may be, they are not me at all. Like they're not my games. And you can put Remnant at 5 if you like, but it's a top 5 game this year. No, I'm being serious now. I'm not taking the piss. It's a top 5 game.
No. Listen, I don't think Remnant 2 is 7.
I think Remnant 2 is a top 5 game too. In this list,
because it's my number one, obviously, and I look, I intend to be very positive and stay positive, and I'm not going to talk about a certain game, but Remnant 2 is it's the best thing I've played this year, and you can list every other game. It's the best thing I've played this year. It's the game I've loved. I platinumed it, and it wasn't an easy platinum. I've played 100+ hours on PC and about 60+ hours on PS5. It's the game I've gone back to. It's the game I want to play now, having platinumed it and with other things to play. And if it doesn't make the 5, then this list is not representing me as part of the 5. It's as simple as that. That's the truth of it. Because I haven't loved Zelda, Mario, Sea of Stars, Octopath. I haven't.
I do think as well there's an element that we talk about to varying degrees each year where it's the game that's probably not Mick's kind of saying it, that's united us the most as a group of 5 people, as well as being great, as well as being things we've rinsed the DLC on, played on multiple platforms multiple times, want to jump back in with each other as a collective group.
I'm shocked that you even suggested that as 7 with how much we've put into that game collectively this year.
See, for me,
I'm shocked.
I think I
thought that was going to be a 3. To be honest, I really hoped and thought that was going to make a 3 because
for me, I've probably played like the least of Remnant 2, but it was and it's not on my personal top 10. But let's face it, like on this year, like there are so many great fucking games. It's kind of like all these are interchangeable for everyone. But for me, Remnant 2 was the game where I didn't expect to like it, and it is above a few more games on this list for me than anything else. I thought Remnant 2 was like really amazing. Like it had its issues in certain ways, but I didn't expect to enjoy Remnant 2 at all, and I was like, shit, this game's like really, really fucking good. Like I wouldn't want it to be 7 either, to be honest. But I mean, again, it's not like I have much better suggestion.
This is the thing. Like that. So I love Alan Wake 2. I love it. Well, they can't all be top 5 games. Like I love it. It's definitely top 5 for me. I just don't see how it's not gonna be.
But you guys are going to fight me on Sea of Stars a lot, and that's fine. But this is another game that I don't think Chris White's played much of it, and I haven't played much of it. And if Sea of Stars lands in 5 or 4 or whatever, fine. But I don't think that that's an automatic shoo-in for a top 3 this year, just because you guys really, really like it when maybe we don't as much. Whereas compared to a game like Alan Wake 2, which we all pretty unanimously love, or a game like Remnant 2, which we pretty much unanimously
but we are now veering into very much dangerous territory, because you're saying Remnant 2 has to be in the list, top 5, because it doesn't represent you otherwise. Now you're sort of getting into the point where you're saying, now Alan Wake 2 has to be there. Look, these are all...
No, that's not what I said. No, but I had valid points for both. No, I had
I'm
valid
not saying
points
you
for both,
don't, but
mate.
we have to have a 7.
Have to.
Well, you did with Remnant, and I don't disagree. I picked it because I thought everyone else would want it there. I don't want it out of the top 5 either.
I mean, for me, Sea of Stars is 7, but that's not going to... Do you know what I mean? So...
No, I think what's difficult as well about Sea of Stars is I know that there are people, I mean, you know, Mick and Chris White, who either haven't played as much or aren't as, like, tied to Sea of Stars, but I think the 3 of us who have Sea of Stars high up, I think we're going to have it, like, as high up as it gets, to be honest. And again, I'm not saying that means it's number 1 at all, because of course it isn't, but I think that also is going to mean it's probably not number 7. You know what I mean?
I'm going to suggest a 7.
Okay. Everyone else has done this.
Yeah, you're the only one who hasn't, so maybe you'll have success.
Yeah.
We are judging this as a team, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I think there's one game standing out more than the others for everyone, like in terms of the love they're getting for it. And it hurts. It really hurts. And I thought it wouldn't. I thought it would get higher, but I don't see how Baldur's Gate is going to get higher, given the games that are left. There's that, because the thing is, Octopath Traveler I didn't finish, but I did love a lot, and I know everyone loves that. We've not really talked a lot about Legend of Zelda, but it's Legend of Zelda, and I know that there's at least 2 people that are massively passionate for it. Sea of Stars, if I had have played more, I know I would love it, and I do love it, but I haven't played enough. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't deserve to be high. Remnant 2, I think Mick's right when he's talking about everyone's played together, and it's been a game we've all loved to a point, some more than others, but we've all enjoyed playing it together. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Alan Wake 2 is phenomenal, and I think everyone, Chris, could agree with that. But Baldur's Gate 3 it's no surprise, it's my game of the year. And I'm not going to get emotional. I've done that already. But what I will say is that there hasn't been a game this year that has captivated me as much as that. I thought after Elden Ring, it would be years before something did that. It did the same thing Elden Ring did, was where it got me like researching shit, looking on the internet and just reading up on everything. Not necessarily what would happen if I made this choice or that choice. It was more about the different builds of the different characters and where to find this or what to do here or what. And it was like, we've talked about the story and all that, but it's just playing it. And it's like, sometimes it doesn't explain things, but it does give you time to understand the world and explore the world and work certain things out for yourself. And I think when a game's that big and it gives you that many hours worth of gameplay, like, you can play this in 50 hours if you want. You can mainline it and get lucky, or you can just exist in the world. And in a year where there's been so many games to review, I didn't review it. I spent time playing it, and everyone pretty much is the same. We don't get time to just spend 100+ hours of a game, but it's not universally loved on the team, or not everyone's had the time to play it. So I get it, and I don't want it to be, but
I think I can help you.
Democracy will go on.
It's going to come down to a Lyle choice, but for 6 and 7, I think.
Ooh. Okay.
Fucking bold. What the fuck are you suggesting?
Yeah, this is wild. This
I don't
is
like that.
wrong, but I'll take
Carry on,
This
boss.
is why people watch. This is why they watch.
Chris Hyde, I want you to know something before I say this. I wanted to know that I love you dearly. But I also know that you're a mathematician and you're a logical mind like myself.
Say now.
You do.
I know what you're going to say.
Oh, jeez, I know what.
And I don't like.
I know
this.
what he's going to say now as well.
Yeah, so do I. But that's the point, isn't it? That is the point. That the group rules. You and I love this game.
Yeah, I know what you're
and
doing.
I can't fucking believe I'm going to say this out loud. But Chris White liked it, I think, and Mick liked it, and Lyle liked it.
I liked it a lot. If it is what you
it is
say.
Tears of the Kingdom. I think Tears of the Kingdom is this group's number 7, and I fucking want to die right now. But
Fuck.
But
no, well, let's be really clear. It's my number 1, right? And I'm not saying that just to stop it being 7, because it might be. But like, this is the challenge, and I knew this was going to happen because, I guess the downside of 2023 being the year we've been saying about is you will naturally have, with so many good games, different people's number 1s, coupled with the fact, like you said, Mick, we're all different to varying degrees. That's why our most anticipated list was like it was. We're in a situation where, my number 1 isn't on people's top 10s. Chris's number 1 isn't on my top 10. It's literally like that. And so we are going to have to think, it's going to mean there's painful moments like this. And
I'm right though, mate. I'm not saying I'm going to be right about all of them, but when you logically think about it, it doesn't affect how much you and I love this game.
No,
but Lyle liked it, Mick and Chris liked it. That isn't enough.
No, and I get that. I'm not disagreeing with it. I think all I will say, and Chris has kind of said
is
this
that
as
you
well,
want me to die as well right now, yeah?
No. Knowing what I knew, I hope this would creep top 5. because of the situation. It doesn't look like it's going to. What I would say is, I do think we need to judge. If we're going to do this to Tears of the Kingdom, I think we need to judge Baldur's Gate 3 in a similar way.
I agree.
Because we are in a very almost opposite scenario.
That's why I brought it up now, is that I think when I look at this from a purely logical perspective, you and I love Zelda here, Tears of the Kingdom. It's your number one. I won't say what it is on mine just because it doesn't need to be said, but it is in the top 3, okay? Whereas the other 3 people here are lukewarm. Baldur's Gate is Chris's number 1. It's high on Mick's list. We don't need to say where. Lyle likes it an awful lot. I like it an awful lot. Logically, that's 7 and 6, and we have a bottom 5, I think.
I think you're being quite sensible in a situation where you very much couldn't be.
I'm really hurting.
Do you know what? And I'm not saying this just because it seems to be the line I utter now. I nearly shed a tear a minute ago when he said it, because it is.
I know.
Chris, you must be feeling very similar when we've talked about Baldur's Gate 3 throughout the week, because we haven't really talked about Tears of the Kingdom much throughout this week.
That's why I said this is. I can't believe I'm even saying it.
Yeah.
But I remember reviewing this game and being like, do you know what? There are times when you feel really lucky in life.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds so silly over a video game, but that's why we're here being serious. And I felt like privileged, I felt privileged with Mario Wonder as well.
Yeah, I went back to it. I went back to it recently because I'd spent 85 hours on it and hadn't finished the story because I was finding Korok seeds and other really meaningful things.
Just say it. You were christening it.
Yeah, I was christening it, and then and I was replaying it. I was like, yeah, it's not just, it's Zelda and I played it in a year and therefore it's great and it defaults to my number 1. It still is my number 1 having gone back to it. It's so good. But I appreciate in this group, it isn't for everybody.
It kind of goes back to what Mick said about...
Lyle as much as it did this year, to be honest, versus Breath of the Wild. We got him to a 9, I want to say.
I think I said 9 at the time, but now that I've finished it and thought about it, I'd put it like a smidge lower. But I loved this game. I'm not saying I didn't love this game. I came prepared with a fucking list of things I was going to complain about.
This was what you wanted to shit on. I'm well aware,
and that's why I thought I got to get in first.
Yeah,
yeah. I wore the Grinch shirt for this moment.
I'm not giving him his moment.
I think it's
the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
That maybe makes it squeak into a top 5, and I don't think you're going to like this much more, and I'll be honest with you, I don't like it even more. I do have Tears of the Kingdom higher than Mario on my list. But I would be really unhappy with Wonder at 7.
I have Tears of the Kingdom higher than Mario because it's my number 1.
But what I'm... Yeah, no, do you know what? It's pointless because I know Chris White loved Mario, Mick loved Wonder, Lyle loved what? No, it doesn't work. I think we have to lock those.
I don't think it works.
I think we have to do this.
I mean,
we've talked about those games quite a bit, and that's 5.
I think that's right.
I mean, I think what we've done there is got rid of the most polar. Well, there's still one.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're right. They are the 2 most sort of polarizing games that could have gone anywhere, anyway.
Whereas I think the others, to varying degrees, are more unanimous. Oh my god.
God, that's wild.
Is it happening?
I'm not sure I was expecting.
Is it happening? Are they bold? They're bolded. Are they staying bolded? Is that the 5?
I agree with the bold.
What I'm saying is, no one other than Lyle is happy with it.
How does everyone else feel?
But it is right.
I'm comfortable with the back 5.
So I feel like Mick's pretty happy with that list, if I'm honest. Okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with the back. I would have put Baldur's higher but I'm not. Because again, we've all said it, but I'm comfortable right now with the back 5.
Chris White.
Yeah, because if Tears ain't going,
you look like you've just been told about the death of a relative.
No, I'm just. It's like Chris is obviously very passionate about Tears of the Kingdom. I'm very passionate about Baldur's. We're all passionate. That's why we're here.
But you won. That's what you're saying, yeah?
No, I'm not, because it would be 1 if I'd won.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think That's fair.
Nobody was winning coming out of this year. I think
thing is,
everyone was winning and losing.
I could have gone on a monologue, a Shadows of Mordor monologue or whatever, and I still wouldn't have convinced you or Mick about putting tiers higher, especially not Lyle. So I just, it's probably not worth it at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to remind people
what's still in contention?
5 are in contention.
So the bottom 5 is 10th Shadow Gambit, 9th Final Fantasy 16, 8th Resident Evil 4 Remake, 7th Tears of the Kingdom, and 6th Baldur's Gate 3, which leaves a top 5 to be organised between Octopath Traveler 2, Sea of Stars, Remnant 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Alan Wake 2.
That bottom 5 reads like a top 5.
I mean, it does, doesn't it? Let's face
I know.
it. This fucking year,
I know,
man.
and this is the thing. This is the amalgamation because we're so different, and I think that's why it does.
Yeah.
Because this is now the games that envelop all of us.
Right. Here's one. 4 and 5.
Bloody hell! Go on then. Go on, son.
No,
Go on.
I'm just putting it out. Is 4 and 5 between Octopath and Mario?
Yeah.
I know it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah.
I would have put it between Octopath and Remnant because for me Mario's a lot higher. But
I think
if
Octopath.
if that means that Octopath is the one in the middle of these, then
yeah,
that's probably 5. I think
Octopath is 5. I don't believe I'm going to get Remnant 2 higher than 4. As much as I'd like to.
I mean, I love Remnant 2, but I mean, it's not on my personal top 10, so it's not. I can't say. I mean, and the other ones in the top 5 are, so I can't say that I'm going to ever vote for it other than the bottom. But I mean, for Octopath, I mean that would be the next one
also,
up. So I understand that being...
Okay.
The thing is,
let me suggest one more. Right, one more. Is number 5 what it is right there on the list? Because you guys are going to want Sea of Stars higher. You're going to want Octopath higher. I want Remnant higher. We want Do
you know what? I could get with that.
We haven't shouted yet.
I could
Alan
get
Wake
with that.
2.
No, but Alan Wake's won 2 of the other individual awards on one day. We have talked a lot about Alan Wake. Doesn't mean that this point we're like, well, fuck AlanAke. It's more that we've said a lot about
3
Alan
individual
Wake.
awards.
Both in day 2 is what you.
And I'm not saying fuck Alan Wake because it's
I know
it's
you're
my
not.
personal very, very high. I won't say what number it is, but it's up there and it's phenomenal.
It's probably the most flawed of the 5. Does that matter? I don't even know if that matters.
It is for me, but like this is the thing I've said on the main pod as well. Like I think it's deserving of the awards that it's been given. I do think there are problems. It's not currently in my 10. I love all the stuff that it does really well, but there's downsides that for it that mean it doesn't quite make it.
The combat isn't always the high moment of the game.
Yeah, and
it does go a little longer than I think it needs to. I mean, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm nitpicking here, but that's where we are, isn't it?
Yeah, we are, mate. I think it looks number 5 looks like that's where it should be.
So it sounds like 4 and 5. I think. Speak up. 4 and 5 are between Octopath and Alan Wake.
I told you this year was going to be tasty. I'm still looking at this going, I don't know what wins. Because that's what I'm now looking at. And what wins?
True. God, I don't know. I don't know what needs to be 5 here.
Is Wonder 5? No. Is it?
No,
is it?
I think Wake should be higher.
Yeah.
I think
is Octopath
I think it
5?
should potentially be Octopath, Wake, Wonder.
He's right.
Let's talk about Octopath then.
No, he's right.
Because he kind of is.
He's right.
I mean, I don't think he is, but
I'm not sure either. But I get it. God,
the thing is, I'm looking at this going, what's 1? Because then by purely logic, 1 can't be in numbers 3, 4, and 5 by maths, if you follow me. And I'm like, I still don't know where Sea of Stars is going to land. If I'm really honest, I know where I want it to be, but we've got to have that conversation at some point.
I think
it's like I say,
Octopath Wake Wonder. Just put it in ad, see what it looks like.
Okay.
Because by that logic, our game of the year is either Sea of Stars or Remnant 2. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that this is where we're getting to now.
I think Mario and Octopath might need to swap. Fuck, I don't know.
Jesus,
they are so different games. They're so different.
Okay, let me ask another question. You guys, Lyle, Chris, Adam, you want Sea of Stars at number 1?
I do, yeah. For me, Sea of Stars is like I don't talk about this stuff a lot on the pod, but it's been quite a tough year, and Sea of Stars got me through it in a lot of ways. Like I needed that game. I needed that game bad, and I don't think I've played a game that I would consider perfect in my life, and I think there's nothing I'd change. Nothing. Everything from the visuals, the music, the gameplay, the length, the characters. There's just literally nothing in that game. It's really rare I say this, but it reminds me of the Mario Odyssey year. The second I rolled credits on that game, I was like, this is my game of the year. And there was no, it's never wavered. And for a long time, obviously games come out throughout the year, so release dates are staggered. For a long time, Tears of the Kingdom was there. And I couldn't believe when I finished it. I went into my notes app on my phone, as I always do, and I keep up to date with it. And I was like, Sea of Stars number 1. And I was like, normally, I feel like when there's a Zelda in that year, I'd go, hang on, what have you just written? But as soon as I did it, it's like, that's right, that's correct. That's how I feel. And I've never changed from the moment that hit number 1 for me on my list. It's never changed, and I literally can't think of a way I'd improve it. And I get that other people might not love it as much as me, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But I needed that game. It just reminds me of everything I love about games. Like the happiness and joy it brought me when I was a little kid, and how it still makes me feel happy and joyful. And, not having to go at games that don't. Remnant 2 isn't designed to make you feel happy and joyful. It's not that kind of video game. Alan Wake is not designed to make you feel happy and joyful. But Sea of Stars was, and they executed on it in just literally... I never listened. I always hear people talk about soundtracks for games, and they're like, oh, yeah, I listen on Spotify. What ones have you been listening to? And I'm like, I don't do that. I listen to like Biffy Clyro or the Manics or some Ben Folds. I listen to the Sea of Stars soundtrack because I love it that much. I saw a friend of mine sent me a picture of the Japanese version of it, and I was like, didn't even occur to me that you could get games physically anymore because I just so digitally live in a digital world now. And I was like, God damn it, I wish I want that. I want that. I can't speak highly enough of what they've achieved, and it is genuinely like they made my perfect game, and that's whether that makes it number 1 or not, I don't know or care in some ways, because it's not on my list. But like, I do want to, I know you've had stuff to say about it, and that's fine, but it does.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say anything else about it.
No, I'm just saying for me that I literally couldn't change a thing about that game. It couldn't be more. It's like someone reached into my brain and made the game I never could have imagined I wanted. It's like
I wish
Final Fantasy VII was the last game made me feel the way that game made me feel.
I wish it had got me in that way. I really do. And I know we've argued a bit this week about specifically Sea of Stars, because I am a bit more negative on it than you guys, because it didn't... And I only played, 10 or 12 hours, so I've not near finished the game. But I play a lot of games. Like
but
a lot.
I don't think you play a lot of this kind of game. This is not your genre.
Exactly.
Remnant 2 is, you don't play the games like that I sing the praises of that touched my soul.
And I think
that
that's
isn't
what
yours.
This list is this year. I think that's what this list is this year. This list is very much... It's almost like it's individual. Like we could all pick one and go, like there's 5 of us. We could have just picked our favourite game and gone, that's the 5. Or do you know what I mean? Like you go Sea of Stars, then Octopath, and then we have Super Mario, then we have Baldur's Gate, then we have whatever. We probably could have done that this year and been done with it. But like, I can't... One person not loving a game that you guys love isn't enough to necessarily keep Sea of Stars off the top spot, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I didn't like it, so it shouldn't be number 1. But I think if we were to vote, it probably would go. If we were to say that The 3 that are at 3, 4, 5 might get tossed around a little bit, but if we're left with the top 2 as they are, and we voted, that's probably where it's going to land. And I'm happy with that, because I don't dislike Sea of Stars. I don't hate Sea of Stars. I didn't play it good. It's just shit. I just didn't get into it as much as you guys. And frankly, a lot of that was because I had to go and play other stuff a lot this year, because I didn't get a time to sit with it and love it and enjoy it. And what I did play of it, I liked. I just haven't fallen in love. That's all. That's it. It's a fantastic game. I'm not knocking it. And I really mean that. I'm not. I think Remnant 2 is better, because that, like you said, that's my genre of game. Like, Remnant 2 is my game. That spoke to me in fucking hundreds of ways. I love it. But that top 2 looks like what that top 2 is going to be. I think we just need to decide where the 3, 4, and 5 go. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with that number 1. Even Chris White, I don't think he's going to argue with that number 1.
No, I think in the...
And look, as a celebration of games, which this tonight has been fucking amazing. Just talking about such fantastic, like, never have we talked about this many amazing games in one go. It's just been phenomenal. I'm not gonna sully that by saying Sea of Stars with this or Sea of Stars with that. It's a phenomenal game. You guys love it. Brought you to tears.
It's not just that though for me. Like, it's mechanically as well. I think it's so rare. We're in an era where, and I don't think Remnant 2 does this either, actually. I think Remnant 2 is not guilty of this, but there are lots of games that are guilty of it, is that they waste your time. They want to sell you something, they want you to do something. And Sea of Stars is the complete opposite of that. It wastes no time, and it doesn't...
I will say the top 5 games there, very good for that.
Yeah, and that's
microtransactions, no wasting your time, no grind for the sake of grinding.
But Sea of Stars as well, for me, like, mechanically, I think the systems that they have implemented all work in tandem and they're cleverly, and then they do that wonderful thing, a bit like God of War Ragnarok did last year. Like, they did that thing of where you think you've seen everything, and then they keep adding more, and they add just enough and just at the right times. And it's such a game made by gamers. Like, the second your mind wavers to thinking, probably about time I had a new character. Oh, I have. Probably about time I got a new... Oh, there's a new power. Like, literally, the second you start to waver in any thinking in that respect, they've done it. And it's just so... I can't... It's so clever.
One more thing as well, before I shut up and stop going on. The reason I would argue that Remnant 2 stays at 2 is because I still think that next to Sea of Stars, it is the game that's united the group more this year in terms of what we've played.
I'd argue Mario Wonder could also be listed under that exact same thing. I think those are the two games that we all kind of agree on.
Yeah, but I think, like, with Remnant 2 in particular, like the secret hunting we were doing before, that, like, that was... And because I don't get involved in multiplayer as much as you guys. I don't get involved in the group stuff.
Even if you're playing it with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Where the fuck's Mick? Oh, right, okay, I'll pick up.
He must have left. Oh, no.
Sorry, carry on, mate.
But I do think that... I think Remnant 2 deserves number 2. And I'm not just saying that because if Sea of Stars is 1, then Remnant should be... I would have put it at 1, obviously. But I think Remnant 2 deserves a 2 spot. I think, and not just talking about what we did and what we saw and what... Like, that game was phenomenal. Like, it's a phenomenal achievement. The things they hid in that game, they put an entire class behind data mining because they knew people would data mine. I mean, that's like... They knew people were going to data mine this game, so they left breadcrumbs in it. I've not heard of anyone ever doing something like that. Like, specifically, let's leave something that a data miner will find, so they find this secret. Like, to me, that's game design on a different level. It's not something that anyone could probably copy. They certainly can't do it again. Now it's been done once, but that's like the props for that. I think it's just absolutely spectacular that they would go to that level.
I think you're describing all 3 of the top 3 with what you've just said there. Like, Mario Bros. Wonder does that same thing. Like, there's ideas in there that you just don't know how they've done it. Sea of Stars does the same. Like, we talked about the sort of true ending, but the way that wraps around, I still can't get my head around how they managed to make that work. And it genuinely was like, You know when a twist happens in the game and you're like, yeah, okay, I did sort of guess this was coming. The way they do it in Sea of Stars is like, I didn't see it coming in a million years.
I think you're right. I think the difference with Remnant is you can play it at the same point and you're talking as you're playing, whereas obviously the other two are. I know you can do Wonder co-op, but we talked about that. It's like
these are games that you play on
your own experience. Well, we prefer, and I think we do prefer it as solo. So I think there is a different element to Remnant where you felt like you were discovering stuff together and that sort of stuff. I didn't really talk to anybody as I was playing Wonder, to talk about that as much. And that's fine. Like that. Like I say, it's my own thing. I want to discover it, kind of thing. It's part of it. I would say there is a top 3, and then there's a bottom 2 of the top 5, if you like. Rather, we were originally talking about a bottom 3 and a top 2. We should probably have a podium, I think, because I think Wonder is.
I would lock that 5, and I would be happy. I would, guys. I don't think I can offer any further argument for anything.
I think, given hearing everybody. Yes, but
I thought Chris was throwing his headphones down.
No, I do. No, yeah, I do. I do think that's the fair reflection of all of the games for this year.
Yeah, it's not the exact order I would pick of those 5 games, but it's not far off. But I kind of like how everyone's represented.
I was going to say all 5 of us are in that.
Yeah.
Like 100%. I mean, that top 10 is spectacular.
It's a really good top 10.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous top 10.
Yeah,
and I want to cry. I've got a real lump in my throat in a minute. I genuinely have.
I mean, do we vote, or is it just yes, we're locking it? I mean,
we haven't heard from Mr. White. He's been ever so quiet again. I don't know.
He will. I do want to talk about Octopath Traveler 2 very briefly as well, because I think it's got the best combat in a JRPG.
100%. I didn't want to be a cunt.
Anywhere.
I didn't want to be a cunt. I think its combat is slightly better than Sea of Stars.
Yeah,
having played that, because they're very different. We lauded
different.
Sea of Stars for its, you can switch players in and out on the fly. You don't get penalised for it, and that's lovely. That would obviously not work in Octopath.
No, it literally is one of the smooth. One of the little flaws with Octopath is how irritating it can be to have to change characters and then unequip all their gear.
But it would literally be like you've got
stuff.
a fucking cheat code if you could just flip everybody in. But yeah, no, that combat system in Octopath Traveler 2 is so good, so layered, so nuanced, so well executed, and it keeps growing because you discover the classes, the secondary job, the hidden jobs. You can do secondary jobs. The party build. Potential is huge. I mean, I remember we were chatting. It feels so long ago when we were chatting about the different, builds. Were. Oh, you could use that and pair that, and I did this and all that sort of stuff. It is, yeah. I went back to it after Sea of Stars. I'm glad I did, because I was like, this is a solid game. This is brilliant, and the combat is outstanding. And we talked about the music and the visuals as well. The visuals are gorgeous. The music is lovely. Yeah, it's a really good game. In any other year, it's
What do you think, Mr. White? You've not said anything, mate.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the list?
I said, I don't know if you heard me because I think you had your headphones off. I said I would be comfortable with that 5 as it is. I don't know how the other guys feel because I haven't said, but we've not heard from you yet.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with the list. I think part of this deliberation is it's always a good feeling to know that everyone else is, have had some really wonderful experiences with video games. And I think as a site, there's no pretentiousness. There's no, and this isn't a dig at anyone else. We just love games. We just want to write about games. We want to play games. We want to chat about games on our own together as a team. And I think this is the best representation of our team. And that's what it has been. We've argued, we've not been happy. I would move the games around, but so would Chris, so would Adam, so would you, so would Lyle. But I think as a team and as a list, I think there is no game more deserving than Sea of Stars. I just don't think there is. And as much as it pains me to say that, it is a fantastic game, and I wish I had played more of it, and I feel like it would be up there.
I will play more of it. I will.
You know, obviously, Baldur's Gate, Star Wars, Spider-Man, they are in my list, but I'm not devastated. You know, I think it's a really solid list, and it's just a great representation of the year we've had and how good it's been. And yeah, I'm happy with it.
I'm going to read it then.
I'm going to lock. I would say I agree. So if anyone else needs to say that they agree, sure. But it sounds like we're locking it in. Adam was about to read it.
I'm not hearing anyone say they want to change anything on this list yet. So unless anyone has, I'm going to read it. Last chance. Speak now or forever hold your peace, as they say.
Yeah, put Sea of Stars at 10.
In 10th place for Game of the Year 2023 is Shadow Gambit. In 9th place is Final Fantasy 16. In 8th place is Resident Evil 4 Remake. In 7th place is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. In 6th place is Baldur's Gate 3. In 5th place is Alan Wake 2. 4th place is Octopath Traveler 2. 3rd place Super Mario Bros. Wonder. 2nd place Remnant 2. And Game of the Year 2023 for GodisaGeek is Sea of Stars. Congratulations.
Woo!
You made it to the end, and we made it to the end. It's
What
done.
a fantastic list. Jokes aside, what a fantastic list.
2023.
What a year, guys.
It's like, this is the ridiculous thing. Even like 11 to 20 is full of bangers. Like, if we'd have had to have done, it's insane.
This is going to be one of those years you talk about, like,
yes,
in years to come. You know, when you go back to like 2008 or 9 or whatever, then you got those that kind, like, this is what we're going to be talking
it's
about.
up
People
there.
are going to say
really
2023 was what a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, that's it. That's just the end. That's our drinks are dry, our bellies are empty, our hearts are full, our minds are also empty. It's been the longest Game of the Year deliberations we've ever done. We'd already nearly eclipsed last year, which was the longest by the end of day 4. So we knew it was going to be a long one. We hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, then there are so many ways you can support us. You can the simplest one is to go to the website and read something, and those clicks count and help us immensely. But you can go to patreon.com/GodisaGeek, where you can support us. And if you did that, you would have had these a week early in both audio and video form. It doesn't, we don't go on about it. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. You can imagine, just the recording alone is nearly, we're approaching a full day of our lives of recording, and we all have other things to do around them. So it does help, even if you didn't get them early, but you want to just go, I really appreciate that, and you want to drop £1, go to patreon.com/GodisaGeek, or you can do that sort of stuff. That buy me a Ko-Fi thing, or is it coffee? You know the thing, the social mediums where you can buy someone a coffee spelled Ko-Fi.
Oh God,
you can follow us on social mediums, of course. You can follow us on everywhere that you would expect. You can see this video and our happy and sad little faces on youtube.com/GodisaGeek. But for all your gaming needs, for all your podcast needs, to find out all of our thoughts, to find out more about Chris Hyde, Lyle Carr, Chris White and Mick Fraser's thoughts, and mine, Adam Kirk, you can go to GodisaGeek.com. Lads, thank you very much for all of your efforts and time this year.
Thank you.
This podcast especially. Thanks for your time and efforts. We'll be back probably in the new year sometime with a regular podcast, which again you can find on Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, all the places, Apple, blah, 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 Google Podcasts, all the social mediums. But for now, that's 2023. It's been a hell of a year, and we will speak to you next year or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.